After a car accident, you open a whole world of challenges, like getting to work. Thankfully, Farmers customers can avoid these inconveniences. Our Help Point service arranges towing, car rentals, even recommends certified auto repair facilities. Contact a local agent and shield yourself with Farmers, just one of over 30 reliable policies available from Farmers.
We owe you so much.
I don't think we played anywhere near our best game yet, and these guys don't. They feel the same way. They're ready to put together the game that they can.
St. Edward head coach Scott Nitzwicki and the Eagles no longer need a win tonight to clinch a playoff spot. Instead, the Eagles and the St. Ignatius Wildcats could be involved in a playoff preview. Believe it, it's the St. Ignatius Wildcats at 8-1 against the St. Edward Eagles at 6-3 in what USA Today has called one of the best rivalries in the nation. It's the first Merritt Bank High School football game of the week right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Byers Field. Jeff Phelps along with my partner, longtime Browns quarterback Mike Pagel. This is one of the great rivalries in all of Northeast Ohio. Any sport, any year, any time, Mike. 45th meeting tonight, and St. Ignatius has a very slight lead in this, 22-20 with one tie in this series. One of the keys in this over the years, the Eagles' defense. When St. Edward has been able to slow down that Ignatius offense, the Eagles have won football games.
That's exactly right, Jeff. The problem today is the Eagles' secondary is the weak part right now, stopping that long passing game of Ignatius. If they can stop the long passing game of Ignatius, they got a chance today defensively.
St. Edward this year, just exactly what you would expect. No surprises out of the Eagles. A very, very balanced offense. They can run it, they can throw it, and defensively, physical play, big play defense.
Well, and offensively, what they got the three-headed monster in the running backs, 32 Germany Woods, 8 Dominique Goodwin, and number 20 Terrell Bates. They'll just keep coming after you and they pound away at you. And then their quarterback, Alex Levitsky, throws the ball extremely well, but is also a threat to run with the football. Defensively, Brian Bolin, a middle linebacker, he'll hit you and knock your head off. And then number 5, LaTwan Anderson in the secondary, fast, ball hawker, goes after the football very well, knows what to do with it once he gets it.
Offensively, the Eagles coming in, averaging over 30 points a game. Alex Levitsky runs this show. His head coach says he's been throwing a quality ball pretty consistently this year, but he struggled the last 3 games, Mike. No touchdown passes, 6 interceptions, and a couple of fumbles.
Well, those turnovers will kill him if he does it today against Ignatius, because Ignatius thrives on that short field that their defense gets them. Levitsky has to take care of the football today to have a chance for this offense to be productive.
St. Ignatius comes into this game with big numbers, averaging 37 points a game offensively, allowing only 9 points a game. They have standout players on defense, Mike.
Yes, they do, and they throw the ball deep. What they try to do offensively is counterpunch. If you want to line up and take away the run, they're going to throw, and they throw it well with Holland at quarterback and Connor Ryan and Joe Paris, the wide receivers, can go out and get it. But the secondary, they play a 3-5 defense, and this secondary does a great job of communicating. They go after the football, and per usual, Ignatius has guys on defense that will hit you hard.
You mentioned their dynamite passing game. It's conducted by Andrew Holland. He's a guy who can really wing that football, Mike.
Well, not only is he a wing it, Jeff, he's like a coach on the field. When a defense makes adjustments against Ignatius offense, it's Andrew Holland who makes the adjustments, calls the different plays, gets them into different types of plays, makes the different throws. When he's on, it's a thing of beauty.
No matter which team wins tonight, there is a real chance that they could play again next week in the first round of the Division I playoffs. We will see. Ignatius hasn't lost since week 1. They've won 8 straight games. Eds has lost 2 in a row, but haven't lost this year to a Northeast Ohio team.
You know what? In about 4 minutes, all the talking stops. All the talking stops. And you play the game. Got it? And you are judged by your actions. Now, rest of your life, you're judged by your actions. Be the worthy warrior. Got it? Every single play, the worthy warrior. You are judged by your actions. Championship teams come to play, fellas. And those kids out there, when they go to bed tonight, fellas, when they go to bed tonight, they're going to be darn proud. They're St. Ignatius, got it? You make them proud. Make them proud.
Certainly an exciting night for football. Welcome back to Byers Field. Fans finding their seats. You have picked a good night to join us here on Fox Sports Ohio. St. Edward's versus St. Ignatius. I'm Deon Miller, getting you set for kickoff of the final 4 quarters of the regular season. And as these two teams take the field, they know they will be in the playoffs. And St. Edward's has Strongsville to thank for it. Come back with me to week 1 when Strongsville tried a game-winning field goal that fell short. St. Ed's won, and Strongsville ran the table, finishing the regular season at 9-1, eliminating Solon last night, guaranteeing St. Ed's that 8th and final playoff spot, which brings us to tonight. So much history between these two teams, but amazingly, they have never met in the postseason. That may be about to change. If St. Ignatius wins tonight, they will be the 1 seed in Division I, Region 1, keeping St. Ed's the 8, and they will meet again next week. If St. Ed's wins, they will be up into the 5th spot and perhaps play St. Ignatius again. But it is time to play football, Jeff.
Alrighty, Deon. Frank DeSico on the return for St. Ignatius gets it out to about the 27-yard line. Deontay Gibson on the stop for St. Ed's, and we are playing football at Byers Field, a sold-out Byers Field, Mike Pagel. This thing year in, year out, a fabulous rivalry, and the fans just turn out for it in big, big bunches.
Yeah, they do, Jeff. They love this game, and this is the game. A lot of these kids went to CYO together, played CYO football together. They know each other from childhood. One went one direction, one went the other. These people know each other, and it is the big game tonight.
The wide receivers for St. Ignatius, guys to keep an eye on. Number 5, Joe Paris. Number 6, Connor Ryan. Number 7, Frank DeSico. Big play guys on offense for St. Ignatius. Handoff goes to Mike Anter, and he has a little running room out to about the 40-yard line. Otis Prunty on the stop for St. Edward's, a 13-yard gain. Offensively, up front, not the biggest bunch of guys up front, Mike. Pat Dowd at left tackle at 215 pounds. No, they have the skill position guys, though. Connor Ryan, Paris with 34 catches, averaging 16 yards a catch coming in. Connor Ryan averaging over 20 yards a catch. First down for Ignatius. Holland. Not a whole lot of running room. Gets about 2. Jack Miller brings him down for St. Edward. St. Ed's coming off a game where they allowed over 400 yards, 401 yards in total offense to Cincinnati Moeller. Brian Boland, a real force in the middle. Great on the blitz. If they turn him loose tonight, watch out for Boland. Laquan Anderson last week, a 96-yard interception return for the Eagles against Cincinnati Moeller. It was a gain of 3 on first down, brings up 2nd down and 7 for St. Ignatius. Just underway at Byers Field. Ignatius against Edward. All you need to know in Northeast Ohio football. Holland throws it over the middle, incomplete. Pass was intended for Frank DeSico. It'll bring up 3rd down and 7.
Yeah, just straight man-to-man coverage. It's one thing that Eds does feel like they can play these Ignatius wide receivers man-to-man. And DeSico did have a little bit of space here, but Holland just a little overthrown, a little bit excited. Didn't get the ball down, and tough catch for DeSico, who's not the tallest guy out there, but a very gifted athlete going to Notre Dame next year as a baseball player.
DeSico just 5'8", covered very well by Laquan Anderson on that. Holland now on 3rd and 7. Holland takes the handoff, throws, completes it. Sam LaGuardia makes the catch, and it's a first down for the Wildcats. Alex Cameron on the coverage for St. Edwards.
Yeah, just a great throw by Andrew Holland. He's got the little play action, going to run the bootleg. He feels the pressure. The back slides through and just up over the top. You don't have to throw the ball on the line to get completion. Sometimes it calls for you to float the ball over the top, and Holland did that very well that time to get the ball out to LaGuardia. Made a nice catch. He got the first down.
Holland coming into this game with 32 career touchdown passes, 3 more, and he ties Joe Pickens, another guy who wore number 12 for St. Ignatius. That's DeSico in motion. Quick pass goes out to Joe Paris. And he gets it down to about the 43-yard line. Cameron on the stop for St. Edward. The name Paris, very familiar to St. Ignatius fans. Joe's brother Robbie played wide receiver for the Wildcats and now playing wide receiver for the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame.
Yeah, a lot of offense for St. Ignatius so far has been misdirection type of things, trying to get St. Ed's thinking they're going one direction and coming back the other way, but Weisenseal that time did a great job. He recognized the defensive lineman, flattened out, and forced that pass play to be short.
2nd down and 7. Again, Holland in the shotgun. Mike Anthony up the middle. Gets across the 40-yard line down to about the 39-yard line. Brian Boland on the stop for the Eagles. Ignatius took the opening kickoff. They've moved it downfield, Mike, and done so pretty effectively. Nice balance on offense.
Yeah, nice balance. They've moved it throwing the football. They got a first down running, got one passing it, so they want to be balanced. But watch Brian Boland, middle linebacker number 1, step up, take on the block, step up and make a tackle. When he hits people, they usually go down.
3rd down, 4 for the Wildcats. Holland barks out the signals. Looked like Jack Miller may have jumped on the right side of that defensive line. Our referee, Michael DeJohn. It is encroachment. It's against St. Ed's, and that's a first down for St. Ignatius.
Yeah, nice call, Jeffrey. Right now you see a little bit of Ignatius has this very good offense, and Ed's is starting to get a little bit frustrated because they can't make any plays.
Holland looking deep, throwing deep, and overshoots his intended receiver. It was Joe Paris back there deep, and Joe really no chance to catch that one, Mike.
No, and what St. Ed's is doing, though, they're starting to get a little bit of pressure. Every pass play so far, they've been able to get at least close to Andrew Holland. They haven't put him down yet, but they're getting close. What they need to keep that pressure on, because if you can get Holland rattled, that is the only way you can stop this offense, because if Holland is feeling comfortable, he is too good back there.
2nd down and 10. Anther nailed by Brian Boland and brought down. Great penetration by that St. Edward defense. Boland leading the way. Michael Green, the nose tackle, also right there.
Yeah, Brian Boland, he's got a little stunt on. He's going to go to his right and shoot. He's going to come right into your picture right here, straight up. He's got the little stunt. Nobody can get there to pick him up. He's got his head up, makes the tackle, and Ed's guessed right with the blitz up the middle, and Boland made it work. And this is what you have to do to good offenses, put them in that 3rd and long situation.
3rd and 13, the situation right now for St. Ignatius. Biggest challenge on this drive. Harris in motion. Holland cranks it up, and it's intercepted and dropped. That was Otis Prunty. Almost intercepting that one, but it brings up 4th down and long for the Wildcats, and they will punt the football away.
Yeah, you just got a bunch of crossing routes going here, and Andrew Holland tries to stick it into the second one. And the safety for Ed's Prunty's just there and makes a play. Unfortunately for St. Ignatius, Prunty was tripped up and wasn't able to hang on to the football, and it forces the punting situation.
A couple of receivers in the area there for St. Ignatius. But on 4th down, Mark Myers hangs one high, and Anderson signals for the fair catch, lets it drop, and it'll be tough field position for St. Ed's as the Eagles take over inside the 10-yard line. We have been very proud to have First Merit as our partner in presenting live high school football each and every week here on Fox Sports Ohio, and one deserving student from each of our schools is receiving the First Merit Scholar Athlete Award every week here on Fox Ohio. Congratulations to this week's First Merit Scholar Athlete Award winners: St. Edward cross-country standout Michael Carroll and football and track star Brian Connolly of St. Ignatius. Congratulations to Brian and Michael with all of this year's winners of our First Merit Scholar Athlete Award. Kathy Bushway, Sarah Sem, Jim Balchek, all on hand today from First Merit. And many thanks to Mark Breskovich of First Merit Bank for all of his support. Mark made it to just about, I'll bet, 2/3 of our games. We saw Mark out here this year. It's a pleasure to have him, and a pleasure to have First Merit joining us this year on our First Merit High School Football Game of the Week. St. Edward's offense Balanced historically, Mike, balanced again this year. A strong running game. Dominique Goodwin, Germany Woods, a couple of guys to keep an eye on. And their offensive line clearing the way, averaging across the front 278 yards a man across the front for the Eagles.
278 pounds.
278.
Across the front. And their task today is to not turn the ball over one, two on every drive, get a handful of first downs. You don't have to score on every drive, but what you want to do is force the Ignatius offense to go the length of the field. And the way Eds has to force that is, in this situation, they need to get 2 or 3 first downs, get the ball out near their 40. If they have to punt there, that forces Ignatius to go the length of the field the whole game. What Ignatius has thrived on all season long is getting short fields to work in, where they get the ball in their opponent's side of the field. Because this defense is very good for St. Ignatius, that allows the offense real short drives and some very high, the way they throw the ball down the field, they give that short field allows Ignatius to score a lot of points. For Eds to have a chance, they have to control the line of scrimmage today with the running game.
Alex Levisky at quarterback. Pitches Latwan Anderson. Starting at tailback, gets it out to about the 13-yard line. Big guys across the front, as we mentioned. Brandon Jackson at left tackle, 6'4", 350 pounds. When he's in there, he is a big, big man. High-low, rights, Lavelle. Keep an eye on Max Warren, outstanding wide receiver, along with Jeff Burke, who will be in there tonight. Gain of 5 on first down for Anderson, 2nd down and 5. Levisky looking deep, lofts it deep. And Max Warren, surrounded by blue jerseys, unable to bring that one in. Defensively, we have some real talent lining up for St. Ignatius tonight. Good pressure coming from the front 3. Ryan Carr in the middle, 275-pound nose tackle. The linebackers, a terrific bunch. Keep an eye on Scott McVeigh tonight, leading this team with 59 tackles, 10 sacks, and 25.5 tackles for loss. And in the defensive backfield, Dan Fox at 6'4", 220, playing the rover position. He's on his way to Notre Dame, where he will be playing linebacker for the Fighting Irish. Ignatius defense swarming all over the Eagles. Not a whole lot of running room there. Ryan Carr leading away from his nose tackle position.
That'll bring up 4th down.
Well,
Scott McVeigh.
And you don't think that Eds is pulling out all the stoppers. First play, they run a toss sweep to Latwan Anderson, who's their starting safety. That time they line up Jeff Burke in the backfield, who's a wide receiver, to take the direct snap to run a quarterback play off tackle. 2 of the 3 plays that Eds ran in that series were plays that were different than what they have shown all year.
Frank DeSico back to receive this punt from Michael Corcoran. DeSico has returned 3 for touchdowns this year. And this is how he does it. Scatters around, finds some running room, and takes off. DeSico down the sideline, inside the 20, inside the 15-yard line, and the Wildcats with terrific field position thanks to their man on the punt returns, Frank DeSico, averaging 17.3 yards a return on punts this year, Mike, and we just saw why.
Well, we've been talking all along that their defense gives them great field position. We forgot to mention that DeSico, with his 17 yards per return average, gives this offense for the Wildcats great field position. Here they are again. They got the table set down inside, deep inside of Ed's territory to score points. And Ignatius, you give them this short field, and they're very, very good at scoring touchdowns down here.
40 yards on the return for Frank DeSico. And his team has the football down deep. Holland out of the shotgun. Mike Answer up the middle and almost into the end zone. Gets down inside the 5, down to about the 1-yard line. Ryan Boland saved the touchdown.
And it's just a little bit of a cross play with the back going straight up the middle. Just a great job by the offensive line. Just pushing everybody away from the center, and just a great run. That's one thing that Eds cannot allow Ignatius to do, is run the football effectively. And so far, the Wildcats have had a couple of decent runs for them. And if Eds can't stop the run, then they're going to really be on their heels all day long.
From the 1-yard line. Holland under center. Hands it off and into the end zone for a touchdown. Pat Hinkle scores his 3rd touchdown of the year. That's just his 4th carry of the year. How's that for a ratio, Mike? 4 carries, 3 touchdowns. Pat Hinkle, a Ball State recruit, does the job.
Yeah, and it's just straight power football down here on the goal line. Hinkle is the guy they put in on when they get the ball down in there tight, in the eye. Just a strong, tough kid. Just pounded in there, and the offensive line did their job. That's St. Ignatius football right there. Great punt return, 2 or 3 plays, and put the ball in the end zone.
Extra point by Seamus Hennessy, blocked. 6-0 is our score. This field a little bit soggy. It rained a little bit last night, of course, and a little bit soggy as Pat Hinkle, a Miami recruit, excuse me, Pat, takes it into the end zone.
After a car accident, you open a whole world of challenges, like getting to work. Thankfully, Farmers customers can avoid these inconveniences. Our Help Point service arranges towing, car rentals, even recommends certified auto repair facilities. Contact a local agent and shield yourself with Farmers, just one of over 30 reliable policies available from Farmers.
The 40-yard punt return by Frank DeSico sets up St. Ignatius. 2 plays later, Pat Hinkle takes it into the end zone, a 1-yard touchdown run. As we're just underway on our first Merritt Bank High School football game of the week at Byers Field, Ignatius 6-0 on top of St. Edward. Juan Anderson brings in the kick at the 5-yard line. Up the middle, still on his feet. Gets out across the 25 to about the 28-yard line. And that's where the Eagles take over with their best field position out of their 2 possessions tonight, pinned down deep each time. If you'd like a copy of tonight's game, all you have to do, go to www.gametapes.com. You can get a copy of tonight's game or any other game we have done on our first Merritt Bank High School football game of the week this year. All the players, band members, cheerleaders, all receiving a copy of tonight's game, courtesy of our friends at Farmers Insurance. Alex Levisky brings his offense back out onto the field. 3 and out for St. Ed's on their first possession of the game. They were pinned down deep, and then the big punt return leads to a score for St. Ignatius. Levisky avoids the rush, tucks it, has some running room this side. Gets across the 40-yard line, out close to the 45-yard line. Corey Galissi on the stop for St. Ignatius.
That's one of the things that Alex Levisky does bring to this offense. He throws the football very well, but this time he fakes to the left, sees the whole left side of the Ignatius defense get collapsed inside, and he's a very good runner. He's a tough kid. Coach Lewitsy was saying that nobody on that football team will challenge Alex Levisky. Even the linemen, linebackers, he is one of the toughest guys that they have and a fierce leader, fierce competitor.
300 yards rushing, pretty good total for a quarterback, Mike. He gained 17 on that previous play. Quickly completes the pass with Juan Anderson. Not a whole lot of running room there. Ignatius defense swarming. Colin Sullivan on the stop. Pat Hinkle also right there.
Yeah, this is a play designed to get out to Juan Anderson real quick, and Levisky gets him the ball, but this Ignatius defense reacts so quickly that there's no place for him to run, and Corey Galissi, first one there, and it's just pure speed that they have on defense there.
Gain of 4 on first down. It's 2nd down and 6. This is Dominique Goodwin. Down to about the 48-yard line. Dominique last year against Ignatius set a 3-yard touchdown, cut the lead late to 19-14, but that was the final as Ignatius won this matchup last year. Goodwin coming in with 7 touchdowns on the season, though, fighting some injuries. Still able to come up with a 4.3 average, 7 touchdowns, and a guy who has really done a nice job when he's been healthy this year, Mike.
Yeah, what the Ed's offense, Jeff, needs to do, offensive line, when they hit somebody, they need to stay locked on them and wear this Ignatius defense down. Ignatius defense is just way too quick to let them get off and make plays.
On 3rd and 4, Levisky very close to a first down. Tripped up a little bit. I think the ball will be spotted about a yard short, Mike. He kind of lost his footing after he was hit by Colin Sullivan and Ryan Carr.
Yeah, and it looked like he had a chance to break away on this one. He's rolling. does a good job of keeping his eyes down the field and decides I'm going to take off and run with it. But right there, just enough to get him, and he slips a little bit. You know, it rained last night, and the field's still a little bit damp, and we noticed some slippage earlier today. And I think he had a chance to break out of the backside of that and have a long run if he hadn't slipped, and now we're looking at a 4th and 1.
But they're playing that field position game, Mike, and as you said, pick up a couple of first downs and be able to move the football and perhaps pin St. Ignatius back deep. Corcoran punts one right side and takes an unfortunate bounce for St. Edward. Goes into the end zone, so the Wildcats will take over at the 20-yard line. Tomorrow night, be there live for the first show that breaks down the new BCS standings, the official BCS rating show. Find out who's moving up, who's moving out, who's moving on towards a berth in a BCS bowl game. The official BCS rating show, Sunday, 8 o'clock, right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Last time on the field, St. Ignatius taking advantage of a great punt return, getting a 1-yard touchdown run from Pat Hinkle. Now Andrew Holland on first down. Hands it off Mike Anthony. Up the middle. Mike's got a good burst. He gets that ball in a hurry, Mike, and takes off.
Yeah, and he's not going to mess around. He knows where the hole's going to be, and this is a very precise offense. They're going to take what you give them, and they know that 3-5 defense of Ed's, where it's weak, is right between the left guard and the left tackle. That's where one of the holes is. And Anders said, I knew the hole's going to be there. I'm just going to put my head down and run through it. And when running backs do that and the line lock on and stick to the guys that they're blocking, you get big runs.
Gain of 6 on first down brings up 2nd down and 4. Cantor again, wrapped up, brought down. David Brown, Mike Green, right there for the Eagles defensively. Big combination inside. David Brown, 5'11", 285. Michael Green at 5'10", 235.
Yeah, this time the first down play, Mike Cantor decided he was going to hit that hole really quick, but this time he kind of dances around, tries to make extra cuts, and Brown just does a great job of coming off the block. And when a big guy like that hits a little running back, usually the running back is going to lose that battle.
3rd down, 4 yards for St. Ignatius. Pass is tipped and almost intercepted. Latwan Anderson thought he had that one. Andrew Holland, very fortunate that ball was not picked off. Batted at the line of scrimmage, up into the air, and Anderson had a little bit of running room in front of him too, Mike, if he'd have been able to pick that one up while still on his feet.
Yeah, 45 Steve Caruso came along and around the left corner, the defense's left side, to get his hand on that ball, and just enough where Anderson really couldn't get his feet underneath him, because that would have been a big play for Eds to have the football in that situation.
Mark Myers to Anderson at the 40-yard line. And he is swarmed by a bunch of blue shirts. 35 yards on the punt, but there's a flag on this play.
Yeah, and it looks to me like it's going to be a roughing the punter call.
Ooh.
Ed's wanted to come after this, and when you come from the side, it's a little easier because you can lay out in front of the kicker. Let's see what the referee is.
We're running into the kicker on the defense. 5-yard penalty. That will be a first down.
When you come from the outside, you get a chance to go across the front of the punter, but when you come right down the middle and you leave your feet, you have a tendency to get up underneath the punter. That's a good call because the punter was still in the air when he was hit by the defender. That's why you have the running into the punter call.
Brian Poland trying to make a big play. Instead, it gives St. Ignatius the football back at the 31-yard line. 6-0. Ignatius on top of the Eagles. Holland throws it deep. Joe Paris has it. Joe Paris goes all the way for a touchdown. Joe Paris, 70 yards on the touchdown from Andrew Holland. The roughing the punter penalty blows up on St. Edward.
Well, and the running into the punter set up Ignatius to get that ball again. They had punted. Ed's had the ball in pretty good field position, and this is what Ignatius does to you. You make a mistake, they come right out and make you pay. Ed's is in straight man-to-man coverage, and Joey Paris just runs right by him, right up the seam, and Holland just dropped in a beautiful ball, and when Paris gets out in front, it's hard to catch him because he's got enough speed to run away from people.
Seamus Hennessy puts this one up and in. 70 yards on the touchdown pass to that guy, Joe Paris. His 8th touchdown of the season, his longest reception of the year. And St. Ignatius goes on top 13-0, 2:12 to play in the first quarter here at Byers Field. Big plays all the way around, Mike. The running into the punter, followed by a 70-yard touchdown. That's a game swing right there.
Well, and there's a couple of mistakes that Eds has made, and every time Eds makes a mistake, Ignatius is capitalizing. One, the first punt. The DeSico gets, he finds that seam, the recover guys got out of their lanes. DeSico made a guy miss. He gets the big return, puts him in great field position. Ignatius in field position for the touchdown, the short drive. Then you get the punt from Eds that hits about the 14, 15-yard line, takes the unfortunate bounce, goes into the end zone, gives Ignatius decent field position on the 20 as compared to down deep in their own territory. Then you get the running into the punter call. One play later, Holland to Paris, 70 yards, 7 more points on the board for the Wildcats.
Jesse Franklin kicks the ball away for St. Ignatius. Anderson from the 5-yard line. Good burst up the middle by LaTuan Anderson. Bounces to the outside and has an open field. LaTuan Anderson wrapped up and brought down at the 20-yard line. A touchdown saving tackle by Kevin Johnson for St. Ignatius. But a great response by St. Edward.
Well, you know what? They needed that. And LaTuan Anderson is one of their big play guys. I mean, this kid is a great defensive back. He strips the ball here. He's a guy that will intercept passes. He's fast. He knows how to run with the football once he gets it in his hands. There, when they needed a big play, he stepped up. Great big kickoff return to put themselves down in great field position.
78 yards on the kickoff return.
Then a kickoff return step, what you have to do is you have to get it and hit the hole, and Anderson did that time.
Ball now spotted on the 31-yard line. Brad Staples, the fullback, heads up the middle. Let's go down on the sidelines. Deion Miller with a Toyota sideline report.
Guys, you looked at that speed of LaTuan Anderson. It's no real shock. The kid is also a track runner. He's part of the 4x100 relay team. All 4 members are on this team, but LaTuan is certainly the fastest. He runs a 10-400, and he's certainly showing his speed tonight.
He did that as a sophomore. Now as a junior, showing off that speed on the football field. Ted Kraft on the stop for St. Ignatius. Eagles trying to take advantage of good field position thanks to LaTuan Anderson.
Well, that big offensive line for Eds, when they're going straight ahead, they're a force, but this time they're trying to go a little bit sideways and try to get some leverage on St. Ignatius, and the Wildcat defense is just a little too quick for that type of play. I think what Eds needs to do offensively is go straighter at this Wildcat defense, use their bulk, use their size, not the speed, because Ignatius has the speed factor on defense.
3rd down and 9. Levisky throws, and it's intercepted. Pat Hinkle makes the interception for St. Ignatius, so an outstanding opportunity for St. Edwards thrown away. And it has been a tough stretch for Alex Levisky. That is his 7th interception in the last 4 games, Mike.
Well, that's something we said couldn't happen, is turnovers. And here's one right here, and this isn't so much Levisky, this is Pat Hinkle. He read the route. He ran the route for Jeff Burke here. Hinkle watched the scouting report, saw that Burke liked to run that corner type of route, and Levisky was going to put it up there. Hinkle just beat him to the point and made the catch. That's just great defense by Pat Hinkle. We talked about the secondary for Ignatius being big play team, type of guys that will hit you and make plays. That shows you right there what Pat Hinkle's capable of doing.
Hinkle heading to Miami University in Oxford next year to play for Shane Montgomery. So now the Wildcat offense trying to control the football and get that field position back in their favor, Mike. But the Eagle defense coming up big on first down. Michael Green in the middle of that line making the stop on Mike Anter.
Yeah, just straight lead off the right side. Nothing fancy about this, but Ed saw it coming and they blitzed Bolin off the linebacker. Brian Bolin came hard off the left side right into where that play was going to be run and blew that whole thing up before it could get started.
David Brown also in there for the Eagles. Clock will run out to finish the first quarter here at a sold-out Byers Field. This place going absolutely bananas as it does each and every time that the St. Ignatius Wildcats and the St. Edward Eagles play their annual rivalry game right here. Good first quarter for the Wildcats. They take advantage of a couple of big plays and they have a 13-0 lead as we go to quarter number 2. $13-0 as we start the second quarter. Mike Anter for St. Ignatius gets the ball out to about the 14-yard line. Brian Bolin on the stop for St. Edward. It's our final First Merit Bank High School Football Game of the Week this season. It's been a pleasure to have First Merit with us this year. Mike Pagel, it's been a pleasure to have you with us.
Well, it's been my pleasure to work with you, Mr. Phelps.
It's been a lot of fun this year.
Yeah, it has been. We've had some really exciting football games. I mean, you start out with Avon and Aurora coming down to a last-second touchdown pass, and all the games in between ending up with a game like this. What a great season.
Ignatius with a 3rd down and 8. Holland, ball's loose. Mike Anter, very, very smart move, falling on that football. Why, Holland wasn't expecting that snap from Brian Connolly. And Anter doing a terrific job to fall on that football, and now Ignatius will have to punt the football away.
What made you think that Andrew Holland wasn't ready for it? That the fact that the ball almost knocked him out, or that it hit him in the forehead?
I think either one might have been a little hint for me.
And the problem for Eds right now is every chance they have to make a play, they're just a step slow, little bit off.
Myers.
Haven't been able to make the play yet.
Myers hangs it short. Good bounce, though, for St. Ignatius. Laquan Anderson, I think, made a smart move in letting that ball bounce because he would have had terrific field position, but a nice bounce by Ignatius turns into a 41-yard punt for Mark Myers. If you're Scott Nitzwicki right now, what are you telling your offense, Mike?
Offensively, Eds cannot change their philosophy at this point. You're down 13-0. Good field position, though. You're at your own 46-yard line. Nitzwicki's telling them right now, gentlemen, we have to run the football, we have to pound on them, and we have to give our defense a chance to get some reps.
Labisky hands it off to Dominic Goodwin, and he is surrounded by blue shirts. Scott McVeigh leading the way for the Wildcat defense. McVeigh, a guy who's getting some serious college attention. He's just a junior, but those offers will start pouring in as soon as the season is over, Mike. 59 tackles to lead this team, 10 sacks, and 25.5 tackles for loss as a junior linebacker. Pretty good size, too, at 6'1", 220.
Well, he's good size, he's got good quickness, but he also has very good pass rushing moves. And people think, what is a pass rush move? You have to be able to set guys up. That offensive lineman, you let him just stand there and try to run through him, he's going to get you. You have to get him moving and be able to counter all his movements, and he does that. McVeigh does that very well.
Labisky on 2nd and 10 goes to Max Warren, and Max does a nice job to bring that ball in at the 40-yard line. Warren coming into this game, 30 catches, 386 yards, averaging almost 13 yards a catch, picks up 14 on that one, Mike.
Just an out route here by Max Warren, and Ignatius is in a man-to-man coverage, and Levitsky throws the ball out there. Alex Levinsky throws the ball out where it needs to be thrown, out to the outside, and Max Warren lays out, makes a nice catch. They need that type of play to keep this offense on the field.
Warren had a huge game against Cincinnati Elder. 9 catches, ball's loose. Ignatius picks it up. That's McVeigh. He's on his way to the end zone, and it's another touchdown for St. Ignatius. Scott McVeigh picks up the ball with nothing in front of him except 57 yards of turf. And it's 19-0 St. Ignatius with the extra point on the way. Wow.
Well, we said what Ed's offense cannot do is turn the football over. Here it's a high handoff. Ball's on the ground. McVeigh right there on the spot to pick it up, and not only is he big and strong and had great moves, but he runs pretty well too for a linebacker at 220 pounds as a junior, Jeff.
57 yards for Scott McVay. Latwan Anderson not able to handle the handoff from Alex Leviski. And now a huge lead for St. Ignatius. The extra point up and good by Seamus Hennessy. 9:12 to play in the first half. And St. Ignatius
Tonight's game on FSN Ohio is brought to you by First Merit. The bank is First Merit. The account is reality. The advantage is yours. By the Akron Haunted Schoolhouse and Laboratory. 7 floors of terror when you visit both. By your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. By the ClevelandSportsReport.com, the new pulse of Cleveland sports. And by Farmers Insurance. To find an agent near you, call 1-800-FARMERS.
Jesse Franklin's kick into the end zone. The Eagles will take over on the 20-yard line, but there's a flag on the play. Way back. And it'll be offside against St.
penalty,
Ignatius.
re-kick.
Referee Michael DeJohn with our call. Jim McGrath is our umpire tonight. Our linesman, Tony Ghazi. Tom Cahill is our line judge. And Mike Mahoney is our back judge. Eagles still fired up. He hasn't looked at the scoreboard. It's 20-0, Ignatius on top. St. Edward, victim of a couple of big plays. A 40-yard punt return by Frank DeSico set up the first touchdown for St. Ignatius, then a 70-yard touchdown pass, Andrew Holland to Joe Paris, and then a 57-yard fumble return by Scott McVay. It adds up to a 20-0 Ignatius lead. Franklin boots it again. Anderson takes it at the 5-yard line. Had a nice return last time out, gets this one out to the 25-yard line, and the Eagles take over there. Needing some offense. They need to get something going offensively and get something on the scoreboard, Mike.
Well, and this is the touchdown by McVay, and he's just reading the flow, and he sees the ball pop out. And look at this big guy, 220-pounder. Looks like a track guy with that nice form running going down with the escort of blue jerseys. Ignatius hasn't done anything special today, but there's been a couple of times when Eds has turned the ball over, given up the big punt return, and given up the long touchdown pass. So it's just Eds needs to get and settle in and take care of the football is what they need to do.
Dominic Goodwin on first down. Not a whole lot of running room for a Toyota sideline report. Here's Dion Miller.
Guys, remember this week Coach Scott Nedzwicki told us for St. Ed's the key would be to eliminate turnovers and not fall behind early. And you know he said that more than once to his team. You can sense the frustration on the sideline. They cannot figure out how to get back in this game, and hopefully they can get out of their own heads and stop making the mistakes and see if they can put some points on the board.
All right, Dion. On second down. Not a whole lot of running room for Goodwin.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, Jeff. All they need to do is settle in, stop turning the ball over, get this big line pounding away and start picking up some first downs, running the football, give their defense a chance to relax a little bit over there on the sideline, put some pressure on this Ignatius defense by sustaining a drive. Critical. They need to pick up this 3rd and 5 right now.
0 for 2 on third down so far tonight. Leviski throwing for this one, gets it to Max Warren, and it's a first down for St. Ed's. Corey Gillespie on the coverage, but Max Warren comes up with a big catch on the throw from Alex Leviski for the first down.
Yeah, and I like the play selection that time because they've been running. This time Ignatius has 8 guys in a box, and Gillespie is playing bump and run coverage up in the face of Warren. Warren just runs a quick outside release, runs straight up the sideline. Leviski drops the ball in there. Warren makes the catch. That's execution. That's what they need to do to get back in this football game.
27 yards on the pass to Max Warren. On first down, gain of about 2. Pat Hinkle on the stop of Dominic Goodwin.
And here's McVay. We got him here, and they're looking for him. Teams are starting to play their offense looking for McVay for Ignatius. If they can find him, you get a chance to block him, but the kid is all over the place. You never know. That time, Eds did a pretty good job finding him, blocking him, picking up 3 yards.
Ignatius has had plenty of talent on defense over the years, and you think of some of the linebackers, John Kerr, who went to Indiana, then Ohio State. McVay, another guy in that pipeline. Leviski completes it. Corey Galissi on the coverage. And that was Max Warren one more time. Max at the bottom of that pile couldn't see that number, Mike.
Well, and it's not a wise type of throw when you're rolling hard to the outside to throw across your body back to the inside. Fortunately, it was a short enough throw that Leviski was able to get there. And what Ed is doing exactly what they need to do. Don't think about points. Think about first downs at this point. They're at 3rd and 1 now.
Good one. Didn't quite get it. Sean Fisher makes the tackle from his safety position for St. Ignatius, and it'll bring up 4th down for the Eagles.
Yeah, Fisher made the play, but watch McVay is in the middle of this again. We've been talking about him. He just scored a touchdown on the fumble recovery, but he's getting penetration, and this whole Ignatius defense is pushing the pile back of white jerseys. The white jerseys and Eds are bigger and stronger. You would expect them to be able to control this line of scrimmage, but Ignatius is winning the battle up front right now.
They're going for it on 4th down. Goodwin puts his head down and has the first down. Dominic Goodwin powers his way to a first down. Seamus Seafring makes the tackle for St. Ignatius, but the Eagles keep it moving.
And a nice job by Dominic Goodwin. There's really not much of a hole here, but this is power football for Eds. This is what they do. And Goodwin just says, you know what, I've got hit, but I'm going to spin, and I'm going to keep my legs moving and keep going. And look at his feet going, driving. First down. That's what they need. That's what Eds needs to do to win this football game. They have to get first downs first and worry about scores later.
Official's going to measure this one.
It's a first down, Jeff.
It certainly looked that way when he ran it, didn't it? And it is a first down for St. Edward.
I told you it was a first down.
Well, I thought that when they ran it, but the spot not quite as aggressive as my call, I guess, Mike.
Well, Jeff, I don't know about that, but you know what? I told you it was a first down. We've been together 10 weeks now. Are you ever going to learn to trust me?
Well, I said it first.
Yes, you did.
And you just followed my lead.
But then you said that they were going to measure.
Something I've been getting used to all season long. Well, they did measure.
Yeah, but they didn't need to. I told them it was a first down.
Eagles have it moving offensively, which is a good thing. They need to get some things going here if you're a St. Edward fan. Down 20-0. Leviski throws back, intended for Jeff Burke, and a lot of pressure applied by Ryan Carr, the nose tackle for St. Ignatius.
Well, it's not Eds likes to run the football, and if you're going to draw back on first down, do some play action of some kind or another to make the defense respect the running game. That time it was straight drop back. Ignatius dropped 5 guys in the coverage, and Eds only had 3 going out for the route. No place for Leviski to throw the football. He does a wise thing, just get rid of it, avoid the sack, keep him at 2nd and 10. It's a lot better than 2nd and 16.
Leviski tucks, runs into his own man. Hit Fred Hilo, which is not a good thing because Fred is 6'4", 275 pounds. So not a whole lot of running room if you run into Fred.
Well, it looks to me like they got a chance for a hole here. And I don't know what happened. Levinsky just missed that hole. There was a hole to the left of Hilo. Had a chance, but here's a situation that Eds does not want to be in that 3rd and long situations. They're much better in the 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 3s than they are the 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12.
4 receivers, 2 split to each side now for the Eagles. Nate Stanley at the bottom of your screen. Leviski to Burke. Jeff Tuck stays on his feet, gets to the 26-yard line, but he'll be about 3, maybe 4 yards short of a first down. Colin Sullivan on the stop for St. Ignatius.
Ignatius is playing in the soft zone. They got that 3rd and long coverage, and they're going to come up and break on it, and Burke's got a chance here to make something happen. And Hinkle comes up and pops him in the back and spins him around and gets him going the other direction. And at least now, nice play for Eds though, because it was 3rd and real long. Now they have something 4th and a chance for the first down.
11th play of this drive for the Eagles. They're going for it on 4th down and 4. Levisky again, 4-receiver set. Throws incomplete, intended for Nate Stanley. St. Ignatius takes over with 3:36 to play in the first half. Tom Hunt on the coverage for the Wildcats.
Yeah, just a little quick hitch that they're going to run. 1, 2, 3, ball comes out for Levisky, and Stanley just doesn't get his hand around quick enough, and just a little bit off target with the throw. You know, that's a timing route, Jeff. When you throw that timing route, what you want to do is throw it right at the back shoulder of the receiver. That ball was a little too far to the outside, and it's a tough catch for Stanley. There you are again. Ed's just that close to making plays, just not making them yet.
Andrew Holland throwing on first down. It's incomplete. And that 4th down play, great work by our camera guys. We've had all season long here in our First Merit Bank High School football game of the week. Terrific shots. Brendan Carazzoni, the intended receiver for Ignatius on that one. Brings up 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, and Andrew Holland just a little bit soft, too soft on that ball. He was trying to put too much touch on it, didn't get it out there. This young man, though, can throw the football very well.
4, 3, 4, 3, 3.
Anter out to about the 30-yard line. That's a gain of 3. Jack Miller, just a sophomore. A lot of sophomores playing for St. Ed's, and that's something you wouldn't expect, Mike, but they have 10 guys who are sophomores who are getting significant playing time.
Well, it's the 10 sophomores, too, is why you see the inconsistent plays on the little mistakes that end up hurting them. This team is just building, and it's hard to say that about an Ed's type of an Ed's team that they're building, but they are very young, Jeff.
3rd down pass intended for Paris. Unable to bring that in, so it'll bring up 4th down, and Ignatius will punt the football away with just under 3 minutes to play in the first half.
Yeah, and that's a nice stand by the defense for Eds, because that's what they have to do. Get this Ignatius offense off the field as much as possible, and hopefully the Eds offense can make something happen and can get the ball in the end zone here shortly.
Mark Myers standing on his 17-yard line to punt the ball away for Ignatius. And Anderson standing back on his 27th, receiver for St. Ed's. Nice punt by Myers. Anderson calling for a fair catch at the 29-yard line. That's where the Eagles take over. 2:49 to play after a punt of 40 yards by Mark Myers. 20-0. St. Ignatius on top of St. Edward. A little work to be done by the Eagles of St. Edward if they want to ring their victory bell tonight, down 20-0 to Ignatius with just under 3 minutes to play here in the first half. 1952, first time these two teams played against each other. Ignatius won that game 41-12. They played each other for the next 6 years until 1957, and then these teams didn't play each other from 1958 to 1970. They've played every year since 1971. It is one of the finest rivalries in all of high school football throughout the entire nation. On first down, not a whole lot of running room for Dominic Goodwin. Seamus Seafring right there for St. Ignatius.
Yeah, this Ignatius defense is just flying all over the place. They're not nearly the size that Eds has up front, but the front 8 for Ignatius is just flying all over them. Just nowhere to run the football right now.
2nd down and 9. Levisky throws deep for Max Warren, and Max almost able to bring that ball in. Double covered back deep. Sean Fisher, Corey Galissi, all around Max Warren. Looked like he was almost able to bring that in, Mike, and he stayed on his feet too. That could have been a huge play for St. Edward.
Yeah, nice throw, almost a nice catch, but Galissi gets just enough there to strip the ball out. And also you got number 14, Sean Fisher coming over the top with a good free safety will do, hitting the receiver just at the last second, and that's just that speed that we've been talking about Ignatius making up for an opening for Eds.
3rd down and 9. Levisky throws incomplete. That play went nowhere for the Eagles. Scott McVeigh applying some pressure.
Well, it was a little bit of a screen play to the right. They're trying to get the ball to Goodwin on the right, hopefully take advantage of that speed from Ignatius, but when you got pressure on the quarterback right now and there's no place to throw the football because the defensive linemen are standing in the middle of the screen, that's not a good looking play. And look, just throw the ball away.
Michael Corcoran standing on a 16-yard line. Frank DeSico had a big return earlier to set up the first touchdown in this game. And did that ball, was it touched by the Wildcats? Yes, it was. Otis Prunty falls on it for St. Edward, and the Eagles get a break. That ball touched an Ignatius Wildcat. The Eagles knew it. Otis Prunty fell on it. And now a big, big break for the Eagles.
Yeah, the ball's just bouncing free right now. And usually what says the return guy's got to be yelling something. And usually the term is poison, 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 tell everybody to get away. And that ball bounces off of Corey Galissi in the back, who's trying to block. And there's the big turnover that St. Ed's needs. Let's see if they can get the ball in the end zone.
DeSico did the yelling. No good. Eagles now with an opportunity, Mike, and they have to take advantage of this. Late in the half, this is a gift.
Yeah, it's a huge gift, and this is an opportunity for them to put the ball in the end zone. If they can do that, they can start chipping away at this 20-0 deficit that they have, but they need to score now on this drive.
Gain of 2 on first down. Bob McAvoy made the stop for the Wildcats on second down. Incompletion going to Max Warren.
Yeah, just a little bit of a timing issue again. You know, Levitsky threw the same type of route to his left on the last series. This time, he's just a little too far outside for Warren on that. You got to throw it more right at the back of his head, so when he turns, the ball's right there on his back shoulder.
Coming up at halftime, Tony Rizzo will have an update on the playoff picture. We'll have highlights of this one. That's coming up at halftime. 1:30 to play here in the second quarter. Ed's 1 of 5 on third downs, trying to connect. And did that pass? Yes. How about that? Dominique Goodwin coming up with a catch coming out of the backfield. Fabulous catch by Dominique Goodwin with Corey Galissi right there.
Yeah, Levitsky's trying to get Goodwin on the little wheel route and out and up down the sideline. And Goodwin sees the safety coming over the top. And what a great catch with one hand to pull it in, and great concentration.
On first down, up the middle, not a lot there.
That was Brad Staples on that carry, Jeff, and that was a change of pace play for Eds. Normally they're giving the ball to the tailback, who's 2 or 3 yards deeper. Staples was a lot closer that time and was able to hit it quickly.
Germany Woods in the game now at tailback. Not a whole lot of running room there. Under a minute to play in the first half. Eagles getting an opportunity when their punt hit a St. Ignatius Wildcat. Eagles recover for good field position. And if they can put some points on the board, if for no other reason, Mike, they're just a boost in confidence. What a huge boost it'll be, because they'll be right back in this football game.
You're right, Jeff. They cannot allow this opportunity to score some points, preferably a touchdown, but at least come away with 3 to at least start feeling a little bit better about yourself offensively.
This is a young St. Edward Eagle team. Scott Niedzwiecki and his staff looking toward the future and seeing some very good things.
Yeah, I think so. You know, I think we're pretty young. You know, playing a lot of young guys, and at times we played that way. But when things are going well, when they're playing well, they're as good as anybody in the state, and I think our opponents could attest to that. You know, there's been some moments where this team is very, very good.
We've seen that at times tonight, but as you mentioned, Mike, they've just had a couple of big plays that they just haven't gone their way. Mistakes by the Eagles, and it's cost them dearly tonight.
Well, and that's what happens with a young team that has talent. One play they look really good, the next play they look very bad, and it's two different teams at times.
Third down and 7, Levitsky throwing for Burke in the end zone, and it's incomplete. Brings up fourth down with 37 seconds to play.
Yeah, this is a nice throw by Levitsky and a nice route by Burke, but Pat Hinkle is playing the inside safety on this. He sees it right at the snap, and he takes off and runs. What makes this Ignatius defense so good is they're smart. They understand what you're trying to do, and Pat Hinkle, before Levitsky even threw the ball, was on a dead run toward Jeff Burke. Just a good route, good throw, almost there, just better coverage by Hinkle.
Another timeout. This one called by St. Ignatius as the Eagles are looking at a 4th down and 7.
Behind Masterson's blocking, the Cats are prowling on the line 15, covering the near length of the field.
Monday on Josh's Cribs, get ready. Josh, the entrepreneur, will take us on a business that may be bouncing your way soon. Are we ready for that? I think we are. It's Monday, 7 o'clock, right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Brought to us by Get Go at Giant Eagle. Get in, get out, get going. 7 o'clock, right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Josh's Cribs. Josh, the entrepreneur. Can't wait for that one.
A bouncing business.
Oh, yeah. My curiosity is piqued.
All I can say is, what could that possibly be, Jeff?
4th down and 7 for the Eagles. St. Ignatius has not allowed a passing touchdown all season long. Levisky rolling to his right. Rose. Max Warren. Touchdown. Passing touchdown number 1 against St. Ignatius. And the first touchdown for Alex Levisky through the air in his last 4 games. And the Eagles take advantage of the great opportunity and get a touchdown late in the first half.
And just a great route by Max Warren. He's going to drive out to the outside like he's going deep. And at the last second, he puts his foot in the ground and comes back, and Alex Levisky throws a dart. Look at the great work by Warren to get that 1 foot in bounds. In high school, that's all you need is 1. Concentration on the football and on the feet. Great job by Max Warren.
Mike D'Annunzio misses the extra point try. So with 32 seconds to play in the first half, Eagles are on the board. It's 20-6, and boy, did St. Edward need that, Mike.
Well, they really needed that one. You know what? They can go in at halftime and hopefully feel a little better about themselves. They've cut the lead from 3 scores down to 2. That is manageable. You can still stay with your game plan, which is run the football, throw the football on play action when you need to, when you want to throw the football, but it's a chance now for Eds just to start feeling better about themselves, because this Ignatius defense has been all over the place. Big plays in the first half for the Wildcats, but that was big for the Eagles to get that turnover and be able to pound it in this late in the half, just at least get on the board.
I'm curious to see what Scott Nitzwicki is going to do now. Last week at Cincinnati Moeller, his team scored late, 15 seconds left in the game, and they kicked it deep. And Moeller returned it for a touchdown to win the game with no time remaining. This isn't exactly the same situation, but they've scored late in the first half, 32 seconds. Now what do? Do they kick it deep? Do they punch it?
Well,
Wildcats are playing up, expecting an onside kick.
Exactly. Chuck Kyle's thinking there may be an onside kick here. But you know what, at this point, kick the ball down the field and hope your coverage team goes and makes a play. Maybe even scrib it with 9 guys so close.
D'Annunzio boots it deep. Brought in by DeSico at the 5-yard line. And he gets it out across the 25 down to about the 27.
Number 7, Frankie DeSico.
DeSico gets that football and he starts flying, doesn't he?
Well, he's a good return guy. You know, you have to be fearless on a return. Kickoff's a little different than punt, because in kickoff, what they're doing is setting up that running lane. You have to hit it right now. DeSico does that.
Ignatius lines up in the eye. And Andrew Holland takes a knee. Both teams are going to let this clock run out. Ignatius, some big plays. Some big plays going the Wildcat way early on in this half. And it led to a 20-0 lead, but then the Eagles get a little bit of a bounce there and end up with a touchdown and a confidence boost as they go in at halftime. 20-6, our score in one of the greatest rivalries in high school football in the entire United States. Let's head down to Dion Miller.
Well, Coach, you know in a game like this it's very important to set the tone. Your team certainly took advantage of their mistakes early tonight.
Well, that's true, and then we made one right there before the end of the half, and you know, they get the touchdown on it. So that was disappointing, but we'll correct that, I'm sure. It's important. I think it's really important the first 5 or 6 minutes coming out of halftime right here. We're kicking off. They're going to be on offense. We got to do a good job there and get field position. We can get field position, put another one in, and in the first part of the third quarter, I'd feel pretty good about it.
All right, Coach, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck. Tony Rizzo, let's shoot it over to you for our halftime report.
And thank you, Dion. As you heard Coach Kyle there, a little upset with the late turnover, but he's got to be happy with where they're at right now on the scoreboard. St. Ignatius leading St. Edwards 20-6. Let's take a look at what happened in the first half, and it was miscues by St. Ed's that set the tone. DeSico with the big punt return right there early on in the first quarter. That would set up the Pat Hinkle touchdown run. Then the block punt, actually roughing the kicker, which brought the ball back, gave it to St. Ignatius. Next play, Andrew Holland to Paris. And look, had him go touchdown, Iggy, and the route is on. Eds with an interception again, another turnover, and then the fumble return for a touchdown to put St. Ignatius up 20-6. However, Eds came back and got on the scoreboard to make a game of it, and right now we stand at 20-6 here at halftime. Let's go back to the field for the action right now with the St. Edwards marching band. All right, there you have it. The Eagles marching band, they are down at halftime, trailing the Wildcats 20-6. When we come back, we'll talk to Russ Jakes of the Strongsville Mustangs, set the playoff picture for you here on Fox Sports Ohio.
After a car accident, you open a whole world of challenges, like getting to work. Thankfully, Farmers customers can avoid these inconveniences. Our Help Point service arranges towing, car rentals, even recommends certified auto repair facilities. Contact a local agent and shield yourself with Farmers, just one of over 30 reliable policies available from Farmers.
Welcome back, everybody. Byers Field in Parma. We are at halftime. The Wildcats lead the Eagles 20-6. Tony Rizzo with you, Farmers Insurance halftime report. And this is a rivalry game. This game, though, not deciding whether or not these two teams are in the playoffs. They are both in. That's because of what happened last night. Strongsville beating Solon, and the Mustangs rolled on defense. Phil Golaskio with some big plays on D. Also, Bobby Kaminsky had a big sack of Solon's quarterback. And then the Strongsville offense got going. Kellen Pagel to Alex Kovac. And Eric Twardzik with one of his 2 touchdowns. Strongsville pasting the Solon Comets. And that had Russ Jakes very happy.
Well, it's been awesome. You know, we knew our defense had to be strong because we had 8 returning starters. We had no clue how good our offense is going to be, but we've grown up every week. We've gotten better. We have playmakers. We have an offensive line that just continues to be better every week, and they're so young. Well, they're not sophomores anymore. I mean, they're all upperclassmen, but we're a physical football team. That's our focus every week, and I think that's been the biggest thing. We keep trying to improve every day we go to practice. This team epitomizes team more than any team that I've ever had, and you could see it, just the way they feel about each other. And we told them before the game, you can count on each other because you can look each other in the eye and know that the guy next to you is going to give everything he has because he knows you're going to give everything you have. And they've done it all year, and they just keep getting closer, and it just keep getting better. And it's been so much fun. This 10 weeks has flown by. It's unbelievable, but it's been so much fun. A great ride.
All right, let's check out the playoff standings now. Because of some action earlier this afternoon, St. Ignatius has moved up to number 2 in Region 1. And with a win tonight, they would move up to the number 1 seed. The irony is the St. Edward Eagles would then be the 8th seed, and these two teams could meet again in the playoffs next week. And oh, by the way, we heard from Russ Jakes of Strongsville. The Mustangs are going to play the Euclid Panthers. Should be great. Right now, let's go back to the field. Here's the St. Ignatius marching band.
In its 21st consecutive year, the St. Ignatius Wildcat Marching Band presents to you the most memorable band formation in high school band history, the incomparable Script Cats.
And there you have it. St. Ignatius Wildcat Marching Band, the script Iggy, I believe they were doing there at halftime. We're going to come back and check out the first half highlights. Coach Kyle getting the troops ready. They're up 20-6 on St. Edwards, and you're watching Fox Sports Ohio. Welcome back, everybody. Byers Field in Parma, Ohio, where the Wildcats of St. Ignatius have a 20-6 lead over the St. Edward Eagles. And we are back. Second half action coming up, but let's take a look at how the first half went down. And it was miscues by St. Edwards that set everything up. First up, Frank DeSico with the big punt return early in the first quarter. That would set up the Pat Ankle touchdown run. And St. Ignatius takes the lead, but a missed PAT after their kicker slipped. However, they would get another shot after turning over on downs, roughing the kicker on Eds. The next play, Andrew Holland goes deep to Paris, and they make him pay with the touchdown. Then, St. Ed's not done turning the ball over. It's a fumble! The junior, McVeigh, picks it up and rumbling, bumbling, stumbling into the end zone for the score. But St. Edward would get on the board. Look at Max Warren. What a job to get his feet inbounds for the touchdown. They missed the PAT. That leads us to our halftime score of 20-6. Here's your halftime stats now. Eds and Ignatius almost equal rushing, 45-36, although Iggy has the one score. Passing-wise, neither team lighting it up, but I'll tell you, St. Edward's having their trouble with the passing game. Despite the touchdown there late in the second half, or late in the second quarter, they have not been able to throw the ball. And the St. Ignatius defense, we talked about it early on in the pregame show, they have done a nice job. And you heard Coach Kyle with Dion just before half lamenting the fact that they turned the ball over late in the second quarter, which led to St. Edward's only score. Well, you heard Coach Kyle say it. First 4 or 5 minutes here in the second half going to be key, and we'll check it out. Stay with us. Jeff Phelps, Mike Pagel will bring you the action. St. Ed's, St. Ignatius on Fox Sports Ohio.
You are a championship team. You love them.
Halftime at Byers Field. St. Ignatius on top of St. Edward, 20-6. Big plays all around. The reason for the scoring in this game, let's head down to Dion Miller, a Toyota Sideline Report.
Guys, I just spoke with the Eagles head coach, Scott Niedzwiecki, and he told me exactly what you just said, Jeff Phelps. Too many stupid big plays. He said it's very frustrating. Not the first half that they wanted to have, but now they head into the third quarter. They feel like they got some momentum late in the second half, or in the second quarter when they scored, and this drive is obviously big. He said if we don't get in and score, we need to pin them back deep. So it's all about field position as we start the second half, guys.
All righty, Dion, and that is critical, Mike. It was a critical factor in the first half along with the big plays because St. Ed's had very difficult field position most of that half.
Well, if you look at the numbers that Tony just went over at halftime, the numbers look the same offensively for both teams. The big differences, 2 turnovers for Eds, and they gave up the long punt return, whereas Ignatius has 1 turnover, and all the turnovers have led to points for both teams.
Jesse Franklin boots it away to Alex Cameron. And the Eagles will start the third quarter at about the 23-yard line. Big plays. The story of this first half. Anderson had a 64-yard kickoff return for the Eagles. Paris, a 70-yard touchdown catch from Holland. McVeigh had the 57-yard fumble return for a touchdown. And Hinkle had an interception in the red zone that really thwarted the best scoring opportunity that the Eagles had until late in that second quarter.
Right, and that interception came after Anderson's 64-yard kickoff return, which would have gave Eds a chance if they could have scored there to keep this game tighter.
To start the third quarter, Dominique Goodwin. Not a whole lot of running room. There wasn't a whole lot of running room for him in the first half. He had 9 carries, 16 yards in the first half. Sean Fisher makes the stop for St. Ignatius.
Yeah, he does a good job here. Everything's tied and locked up inside. off tackle where he was supposed to go. He bounces it out to the outside, gets away from that congestion, was able to pick up a nice first down run. That's the key for a team like Eds, who runs the football, wants to play ball control. First down is the key. If they can get 4 or more yards, they have a chance to keep getting first downs. If they're at 2nd and 10, it's a very difficult situation for them.
Goodwin again. Puts his head down, comes up a yard or two short of the first down. Ball is loose. The officials are going to say that he was down before that ball came loose. Sean Fisher jumped out of the pile with it. Scott McVay getting that football away. Man who stepped up big in the first half for the Eagles, he wears number 85, and his name is Max Warren. 4 catches, 53 yards, and a touchdown in the first half for Max.
Yeah, and he's been their most consistent offensive threat all game. And he's made some good catches, including the touchdown where he did a great job of reaching out to catch the football, but able to keep his left foot in the end zone as he's catching the ball for the touchdown.
3rd down and a short one for the Eagles. Levisky keeps it. And it looks like he's going to have the first down, but this will be very close. If they spot it where the official is standing, it'll be a first down for the Eagles. And it is first down St. Edward.
Yeah, and that's a nice start for Eds. Down 20-6, starting the 3rd quarter. All they need to think about right now, get first down. Don't worry about scoring, get first down.
You got to give the guys without the shirts a lot of credit because it's not one of those balmy October nights, Mike.
But give them a lot of credit or give them some cold tablets later in the day.
Yeah, one or the other.
Yeah, some Theraflu
a little nippy here at Always Chilly Byers Field. That was Brad Staples, the fullback, plowing ahead for maybe a yard, maybe 2. Kind of hopped over Kevin Wrights.
Yeah, and Ryan Carr made that play, the nose tackle. He just buried himself under Kevin Wrights, the center, and just created a big pile of 2 big bodies there. Just not a whole lot of running room for anybody to run through there.
It's a gain of a yard. It'll bring up 2nd down and 9. Levisky. First pass of the second half, incomplete. Pass was intended for Jeff Burke. Levisky in the first half, 7 of 15. He had 78 yards passing and the touchdown to Max Warren.
Yeah, and Alex has thrown some nice balls today, but he's also thrown some balls where his timing and his rhythm is just not right. Threw a couple of hitch routes where he was just about 6 to 8 inches too wide, making it too tough of a catch for the receiver, but did throw some nice balls where he put them right in there. That time, looked like the communication error. Burke was looking for the ball down the field, and Levisky threw it short behind him. A little bit of communication, maybe with Burke being out the last couple of weeks, that hurt that play.
3rd down and 9, Levisky throws, and Warren had to turn the other way. It went over his other shoulder, and it's incomplete. It brings up 4th down for St. Edward, and the Eagles will have to punt this football away.
Yeah, and Max Warren had a step here, and here's a blitz coming in the backside. Levisky throws the ball out. He needs to throw the ball down the field. When you're throwing that fade route, you have to keep the ball in bounds. Levisky threw that ball outside of the sideline, and that gave Warren no chance to catch the football.
Frank DeSico on his 25-yard line received the punt from Mike Corcoran. Nice spiral by Corcoran, and DeSico with a fair catch at the 22-yard line. That's where the Wildcats take over their first possession. Coming up with the second half, a 40-yard punt by Corcoran. 20-6 is our score at Byers Field.
After a car accident, you open a whole world of challenges, like getting to work. Thankfully, Farmers customers can avoid these inconveniences. Our Help Point service arranges towing, car rentals, even recommends certified auto repair facilities. Contact a local agent and shield yourself with Farmers, just one of over 30 reliable policies available from Farmers.
Scott Niedzwiecki now in his 2nd year as head coach of the St. Edward Eagles. Spent the previous 3 years as the defensive coordinator at John Carroll. Before that, an assistant at St. Ed's on the coaching staff of John Gibbons. And now I'm back and running the Eagle program against St. Ignatius tonight. Harris catches the pass on first down. And Latuan Anderson right there to nail him when he caught it.
Nice read by LaTwan Anderson. They run the motion by Ignatius, bumps LaTwan Anderson out to the number 2 receiver. He sees the blocking set up, and LaTwan Anderson does what a corner should do and attack the receiver on that play, and doesn't give Paris a chance to even get started.
It's a loss of 3. Brings up 2nd down and 13. Andrew Holland at quarterback, 3 of 9, 83 yards and a touchdown in the first half. Hands off to Mike Anter, and he busts one out to about the 27-yard line. It'll be a gain of 8 for Mike Anter. Mike had 9 carries, 38 yards in the first half. Gets up limping a little bit. Limping a lot a little bit.
And Eds has a stunt going from the right side of their defense, but look at the block by number 74, Frank Whitaker for Ignatius, just collapsing that whole defensive line inside, and Anter just explodes through the hole.
Holland under a rush, hit, brought down. Jack Miller getting into that backfield and making the sack of Andrew Holland, and St. Ed's defense coming out inspired here in the third quarter, Mike.
Well, and you know what? Ed's has started out the second half a lot better. The first drive offensively, they got a first down, and then Corcoran had a very nice punt, and now the defense has come out and actually pushed Ed's back a yard, so now we're left 4th and 11. Very nice job so far by Eds to start this third quarter. Let's see if they can do something offensively and put the ball in the end zone.
Each defense coming up with a stop on possession number 1. Mark Myers punts it away. Anderson calls for a fair catch at the 41-yard line. Chuck Kyle, a 1969 graduate of St. Ignatius High School, now in his 26th year as head coach at his alma mater. And boy, what numbers this man has put up. 256 career wins, only 57 losses, and 1 tie. 9 state titles, 21 straight playoff appearances. Number 21 is this year, and that is an Ohio record. And a great honor coming up, head coach of the inaugural junior national team. As Coach Kyle told us, our fight song will be the national anthem, and that's pretty special. Alex Levisky on first down for the Eagles, throws. And there's a man whose number we haven't called tonight, Dan Fox, the outstanding defensive player for the Wildcats, because the Eagles have been going away from him. Let's head down to Dion Miller, a Toyota Sideline Report.
Jeff, you mentioned Coach Kyle will be coaching in the inaugural Junior World Championships. As a track coach, when he heard about this, he was like, this is a really big deal, and it certainly is a unique opportunity. They'll be playing teams from all over the world, kind of have that Olympic feeling, and put on that USA jersey, an honor that not a lot of kids get at this age. He's very excited for the future, and we may see one of the Wildcats slip onto that roster next summer.
I would think so, Dion, absolutely. Jeff Burke not able to handle the pass from Levisky. Levisky put that one in a good spot for a receiver, Mike Pagel.
Yeah, he put it right there, but the difference was Tommy Hunt, number 31 for St. Ignatius, had great coverage. He was reading Burke's eyes all the way. Jeff Burke started up the field, was looking back, and Tommy Hunt just said, this looks like that short fade where you get the corner going deep to throw the ball back shoulder of the receiver, but Hunt did a great job of covering that time.
Third down and 9, Levisky looking for Max Warren, and it's incomplete. Corey Galissi on the coverage for St. Ignatius. So the defense again for the Ignatius Wildcats comes up big, and the St. Edward Eagles will have to punt the ball away again.
This is not this is a good design play here. They're 2 deep zone by Ignatius, and you get that quick fade down the sideline, and Levisky tries to drill it in there. It's just a little bit high. And Warren's a little happy, though, because the aforementioned Dan Fox had a bullseye drawn on Warren's chest. If that ball would have been caught, Fox would have crushed it.
Big rush on Corcoran. Ball takes a big bounce inside the 20-yard line, and the Wildcats will take over at the 19-yard line. Kick off your Sunday by reliving your college football Saturday with Jeff Hogan and Buckeye Replay. Then you can hear what Coach Jim Tressel has to say about the game on Buckeye Football Weekly. That is tomorrow morning starting at 9 o'clock on Fox Sports Ohio. Scott Nitzwicki's offense unable to get on track, but his defense solid on the first Ignatius possession of the third quarter. Let's see what they do here on possession number 2. Andrew Holland handing off to Mike Anter, and Brian Boland nails him along with David Brown. Eagles defense made some nice adjustments at halftime, apparently, Mike. If nothing else, picked up a little aggressive nature at halftime.
Yeah, I think they decided they want to go out and take it, and watch Brian Boland. Listen to that hit. He just read it. He saw the formation. He had a tight end and the fullback on the left side of the right side of the offense, left side for the defense, and Brian Boland, as soon as he saw the stretch play with Andrew Holland sprinting to the outside, he shot hard through there, and what a good football player he is.
2nd and 9. Holland pump fakes, cranks it up deep, throwing for Ryan. Incomplete. Connor Ryan had a step back deep on Otis Prunty, but the pass just a little deep by Andrew Holland, and it'll bring up 3rd down.
And that's a nice play selection, a nice design. They faked the quick screen, quick pass to the left, and then come out to the right, and you saw the yardage there. A lot of yards in the first quarter for Ignatius, but since then, this Eagles defense has really shut down this very high-powered Wildcat offense, and that's a credit to the defense for Eds.
Just 3 yards since that first quarter for the St. Ignatius offense. Now looking at a 3rd down and 9. Holland trying to avoid the rush. Throws it deep. He has Ryan and overshoots him again. Connor Ryan wide open that time. Michael Green all over Andrew Holland. That would affect the guy throwing a football, but boy, Connor Ryan was open, Mike.
Yeah, he was open, but what you have to do to this offense is you have to put pressure on the quarterback. And Brian Boland, he's putting pressure on Andrew Holland right here. Watch this shot. Man, that's why I retired, Jeff, right there.
Was that concussion number 7 or 8, or was that 9?
I can't remember.
Mark Myers to Anderson. He calls for the fair catch, and the ball bounces at the 35 and goes out of bounds. So the defenses, the story so far here in the third quarter, each defense coming up big twice. Mike Green, a little pressure. Brian Boland with the finisher. Our First Merit Bank High School Football Game of the Week coming to you from Byers Field in Parma. This place is packed. This place is going nuts as St. Ignatius going against St. Edward in their annual game that each and every student at both schools looks forward to from the day they enroll at either St. Edward or St. Ignatius. Wildcats on top 20-6. They had a 20-0 lead in this game. All the scoring coming in the first half, and all basically as a result of big plays. Now for the 3rd time in the third quarter, the Eagle offense on the field trying to get something going. Neither offense able to get anything going so far here in the 3rd. Jeff Phelps along with Mike Pagel. And Levisky with the pass incomplete. Good coverage by Corey Galissi. Seamus Seifring also helping out defensively for St. Ignatius.
Yeah, watch Scott McVeigh here. We just saw Brian Boland. Well, that's not McVeigh, but look at the shot that Andrew Levisky's taking right here. And that's Seamus Seifring hitting him. So you want to play quarterback, Jeff? You got to be able to stand in the pocket and do those kind of things.
I don't actually.
Wise man you are.
Thank you.
Very wise man. And when you have two teams that know each other as well as these two, it does come down to big plays. It's very difficult for either offense to sustain drives because they just understand what you're trying to do offensively. Now it's a matter of Edge trying to pick something up and get some momentum going here to get back in this game.
4 receivers for Levisky, but he hands off to Germany Woods. And Germany gets it out across the 40-yard line to the 41. Jerry Ramella on the stop for St. Ignatius. Each and every player, cheerleader, band member in tonight's game receiving a free copy of tonight's game courtesy of our friends at Farmers Insurance. If you would like a copy, not free but still a great deal, go to www.gametapes.com. You can get a copy of this one or any of our First Merit Bank High School Football Games of the Week that we have done this season on Fox Sports Ohio. We've had some good ones too, Mike. It's been a great season.
Oh, it has been. There's been teams that we didn't think would win ball games and won ball games, and games where just coming down to the wire. It's been a lot of fun.
3rd down and 3 for St. Ed's. And absolutely nothing doing for the Eagles as they try and pick it up. Germany Woods hit by Ryan Carr. And it'll bring up 4th down and short. So again, Mike, the defense coming up big for St. Ignatius.
Well, and Eds had just run that same play and found a seam and were able to exploit it. This time, McVeigh shoots from the middle linebacker spot, is able to make that first contact too, and that just created nothing for this offense. And it's just these defenses, especially the Ignatius defense, is so fast. They're just getting to the point of attack so quick. There's just no running room at all for the Eds running backs.
Corcoran on a fake punt. It goes to Dominique Goodwin, and he is short of the first down. St. Ignatius comes up big. Colin Sullivan, Scotty McVeigh making the stop on Dominique Goodwin. Scott Nitzwicki trying to shake things up a little bit. They go with the fake punt. It doesn't work, and St. Ignatius with terrific field position.
Yeah, and I thought for a second right there that Goodwin was able to gonna make the play. But that defense, I just talked about it. The defense for Ignatius is just so quick, and they cover for each other so well. Look how many blue jerseys recover to get out there and help and make the tackle there for a loss of down or short, but turns the ball over. And one thing that you don't want to do is put Ignatius in short field position like this.
Before tonight's game, Farmers Insurance agent Jim Prandy presented St. Ignatius history teacher Tim Evans with the Farmers Insurance Teacher Citizen of the Week Award. Tim is the moderator of the Justice League and the senior class, and he heads up the Wildcats Golf Club. Congratulations to Tim Evans and all of this year's winners of our Farmers Insurance Teacher Citizen of the Week Award. Thrilled to have Farmers Insurance as part of our coverage this season. You wouldn't know it from the scoreboard, but Andrew Holland having a pretty tough game at quarterback. 4 of 12, 81 yards and a touchdown.
And 81 yards with 70 of that coming on one pass play.
Little trickery. Harris coming around and not able to do much of anything. The Eagles defense stringing that out. Brian Boland, Rob Curry doing the job. There's Rob.
Yeah, and Rob Curry does a great job. He's got the backside corner on this play, and he feels the reverse coming, and he stays home. And look at him taking on Andrew Holland, a quarterback. Come on, Andrew, you got to block better than that. You're a quarterback, be an athlete. But Rob Curry does a great job. Does a great job of fending off the dynamic block of Andrew Holland, the quarterback, and makes a great play.
That was rough. The man who never threw a block.
I did. I throw blocks all the time on the basketball court.
Penalty going against St. Edward.
A dead ball, offside on a defense. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Michael DeJohn with the call. Brian Boland has been a force in the middle of this St. Edward defense tonight, Mike Pagel.
Yeah, we knew he would be. He's just a strong young man. He does a great job of blitzing, finding gaps. 6 foot, 210-pounder in that middle. And he just, when he hits you, you know it.
Mike Anter squirms his way out to about the 35, surrounded by Brian Boland and friends. But Anter kept his feet moving and able to pick up a little bit of yardage on that. Let's head down to Dion Miller on Toyota Sideline Report.
Offense has been so tough this year, it's not really a surprise. Coach Kyle, for the first time in his career, had 9 starters returning on offense. That's never happened in 26 years at St. Ignatius. But even with that, you know Coach Kyle not big on the superlatives. He said, I'm optimistic about the season, and here they sit looking in very good position for 9-1 in 2008.
On 3rd down and 4, Andrew Holland airmailing one intended for Joe Paris. That one a little deep, and it brings up 4th down Ignatius. Boy, the defenses have been outstanding here in the 3rd quarter, Mike.
Yeah, and a good read by Andrew Holland. That's one of their favorite plays, is the skinny post where the outside receiver goes about 12 yards and breaks for the goalpost. And if that ball would have been thrown lower by Andrew Holland, Latwan Anderson read it, knew it was coming, had a great break on the ball as a free safety. If that ball would have been lower, Latwan Anderson would have been off to the races going the other direction with it.
Latwan hoping for that right now. He stands at the 10-yard line. Mark Myers punt this football away for Ignatius. Ball bounces at the 5 and goes into the end zone. So the 20-yard line, the spot for St. Edward as they get going with 1:56 to play here in the third quarter. Our final weekly winner of the Mark's Cheez-It Kiss FM School Spirit Contest, Grant Gangle of Medina, the alma mater of our spotter, Ron Glassnap. Here's Grant and buddies. Every week, Mark's Kiss FM and Fox Ohio asked you to show off your school spirit in the Smile and Say Cheez-It photo contest. Weekly winners won a $50 gift card from Best Buy as well as a Fox Ohio prize pack. Well, the votes are in, and Shion Sexton of McKinley High School is the grand prize winner. Congratulations, Shion. She wins a brand new laptop computer courtesy of Best Buy. Mark's Cheez-It, Kiss FM, Best Buy, and Fox Ohio. I want to thank everyone who participated in the contest. Made another great high school football season for us here. Levinsky's throw intended for the 50-yard line marker. Or Jeff Burke.
The 50-yard line, and it was a beautiful throw because he dropped it right there. But Jeff Burke, unfortunately, was down the middle of the field running a post route. And there were 3 Wildcat defenders hanging all over Jeff Burke. I don't think there was any way that the ball was going to get into Burke if Levinsky had thrown that way.
2nd down and 10. Levinsky, short drop. Max Warren not able to bring it in. Pass a little bit high. Brings up 3rd down and 10. Mike, the offense is struggling so much in the third quarter. What can they do against the defenses? What adjustments can they make right now?
Well, right now, that was a good example right there. Levinsky had Warren wide open, and he rushed himself. He has to slow down, work your feet, deliver the football properly because Warren is open. And he just rushes this ball. He hops into it. He doesn't really get himself set and then overthrows it. Doesn't get a chance to follow through, and there's the ball going high. You have to, on 1st down, pick up 4 to 5 yards, and neither one of these defenses are allowing the offense to do that on a consistent basis.
3rd down and 10. Levinsky tucks. Has a lot of blue shirts in front of him. Hit by Scott McVeigh at the 24-yard line, and will set up 4th down again for St. Edward. Well, I'm surprised that the offenses have struggled so much here in the third quarter. Really since the first quarter, Mike.
Well, both teams have made adjustments on their defense, and that time Alex Levinsky had an opportunity. He broke the pocket, had a chance to get away, but McVeigh, with that speed of his, saw it and just closed down on him so quickly. There was just nowhere to go. I thought for a second there Levinsky was going to pick up the 1st down, but Scott McVeigh said, not on my watch.
St. Ed's averaging over 30 points a game. And Ignatius over 36 points a game. 20-6 on the scoreboard. The punt was fumbled by Frank DeSico. Luckily for Frank, fumbled out of bounds. And St. Ignatius will take over close to midfield. Pat Hinkle was right there, and that probably didn't help Frank DeSico very much.
It's a good thing that Henkel's there.
Yep.
You know, and DeSico, he's one of those gamblers. He likes to catch the ball on a run and go with it, and that time it went through his hands. But Pat Henkel, one of those smart players that Ignatius has, heads-up type of player right there to recover it and save the ball for Ignatius.
Andrew Holland throwing on 1st down, completes it to Mike Andrew. Stays on his feet long enough that Brian Boland can hit him along with Deontay Gibson.
Yeah, had a nice little screen set up here at first, but the reading of St. Ed's where they're staying home and they're coming after it. And look, Boland right there in the middle. He feels something's up. He's not getting out of there, and he sees the ball goes in, does what he does best, and that's hit people.
There's a loss of 1. 3 and outs for the Wildcats here in the second half. Holland keeps it. And not a whole lot of running room. Brought down by Alex Cameron as time is running out here in the third quarter at Byers Field. It was 20-6 at halftime. It's 20-6 as we go to the fourth quarter. The St. Edward Eagles trying to mount a comeback. They've been good at it in the past. They'll have a shot here at Byers.
We owe you so much.
Game number 45 in this great rivalry, going to the fourth quarter at Byers Field in our First Merit Bank High School football game of the week. 20-6, Ignatius on top, and Andrew Holland keeps it for the Wildcats and has a first down and a little bit more. Might be the most productive play the Ignatius Wildcats have had since the first quarter of this game, Mike Bagel. Otis Prunty on the stop for the Eagles.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And this is zone coverage by St. Ed's, and they're dropping everybody back, and the linebackers get back about 12, 15 yards, which is a great job. And Holland sees it, tucks the ball, decides to run with it, and makes a couple of guys miss. Is that their first down in the second half, Jeff?
I think it is their first down here in the second half. 16 yards on the play by Andrew Holland. Again, this game is 20-6 at halftime. Scoreless in the third quarter. Holland keeps it again. Has some running room and another first down. Holland gets it down to the 24-yard line. Deontay Gibson doing a good job chasing him down from behind, but 17 yards on that carry by Andrew Holland.
Yeah, and Matt Dello coming off the left side of the screen. Misses him right there. Holland gives him that stiff shoulder and bounces away. Another good run by Andrew Holland, just getting through that first guy. And a lot of times on a quarterback draw, if you get past the first guy, you have a chance to make a nice run. Holland avoided the first one, and off he went.
Wildcats have the ball on the 23, maybe the 24-yard line. Anter, penalty marker coming in. Mike Anter, senior running back, held in check pretty much tonight. Face masking, the call against St. Edward.
Five-yard face mask penalty on the defense. First down.
Didn't look anything too terribly blatant, Mike.
No, Andrew almost drops the football, but nothing real blatant there. It just gets across. The arm happens to get on there. He's not pulling on it, not tugging on it or anything. It just happened to get there, and nice call by the official. But it's just that right now, the Ignatius offense with those two runs by Andrew Holland now finally has the Ed's defense on their heels. That's the first time this whole second half any defense has been on their heels.
First down and 5. Holland has it again, and he has plenty of running room. Andrew Holland into the end zone, touchdown St. Ignatius. Andrew Holland with a couple of big runs on that drive, and then finishes it off with the touchdown run to put his team up 26-6.
You know, we talked about it all day long. Alex Levisky, quarterback for St. Ed's, has the ability to throw the football and is also a pretty good runner. And Andrew Holland has been the thrower with not that much of a runner, but Holland with 3 great runs, and Connor Ryan out there does a good job. Doesn't knock the DB down, but gets in his way enough to prevent a tackle there. And Andrew Holland, not with his arm but with his legs, leads a touchdown for St. Ignatius.
The Wildcats had 117 yards offense in the first quarter. Flag on this play.
12 men on the field on the defense. Half the distance to the goal, repeat the try.
In the second and third quarter, a total of 6 yards in total offense, 3 in each quarter. But Andrew Holland picking up 52 yards on that drive and then sticking it into the end zone for the touchdown. Seamus Hennessy puts the extra point up and through. 27-6. Ignatius on top. 10:25 to play here at Byers Field. Now the Eagles of St. Edward need to score, and they need to score in a hurry. Jesse Franklin has the ball on the tee, ready to boot it away for the St. Ignatius Wildcats, now up by 21 on their rivals, the St. Edward Eagles. Laquan Anderson from the 16-yard line stumbles and falls down at the 22-yard line. Not much offense in the third quarter. In fact, it was non-existent in the third quarter, but in the fourth, look out. Andrew Holland, 3 carries for 52 yards, including 19 for our John Deere long run and a touchdown.
Yeah, just great blocking by the receivers out there, Frank DeSico Connor Ryan do a great job, but the key to that whole series was the 3 runs by Andrew Holland, the back-to-back runs that were the 3rd down run and then the next 1st down run and then the touchdown run. Andrew Holland struggling throwing the football, and you look at the numbers there.
Ugly middle.
But he did run he ran the football well in that series.
Levinsky on 1st down, big rush, and he goes down. Ryan Carr, the man to bring him down, but Ryan had a lot of help on that one. Levinsky chased out of the pocket, and the Ignatius defense coming out strong after the touchdown.
Yeah, they know now that Ed has to throw the football a lot, so they're just going to start blitzing and bringing people from different directions. And you get that pressure, keep that pocket, that rush discipline, staying in your lanes is what Ignatius just did.
Levinsky tucks, runs, and gets nailed. McVay hit him at the 20-yard line. If you're St. Ed's right now, Mike, and you know Ignatius is going to be aggressive defensively, up by 21, and knowing that the Eagles have to throw, what do you do? How can you balance that out?
Well, you got to get some screens. You got to hit them with the draw. Hit one of your receivers in the seam on a dead run and get them out of that. You got to get somehow when a team's blitzing, you have to beat it and scare the defense out of the blitz.
On 3rd down and 12, Corey Galissi almost comes up with the interception. Pass was intended for Max Warren, so a quick 3 and out for the St. Edward Eagles.
Yeah, and Levinsky gets himself set and throws it out here, but the ball should be out toward the sideline. Warren is running an out route, and the ball's thrown behind him, and Galissi slides down, almost gets an interception, which would have been a huge play for this game.
Number 44,
Frank Pasico standing on his 40-yard line.
Back deep to receive for the Cats.
Frank had a big 40-yard punt return to set up the first Ignatius touchdown of this game. Pasico up to the 40, 45-yard line. Good field position for Ignatius as they take over with 9:04 to play. We have no offense in the 3rd quarter. Ignatius came out hot to start the 4th, and Andrew Holland the big reason why, Mike.
Yeah, Andrew Holland, that was a scramble. This is a called draw, and he pops off the 1 tackle and goes for good distance, and then the touchdown. Another read play where he fakes the ball to the tailback going to the left. He pulls it, goes out to the right side, gets some good blocks from his receivers downfield. Big run, big drive for Andrew Holland and the St. Ignatius Wildcats.
He's a very capable runner. That touchdown was his 5th on the season. Mike Anter bounces outside and has a lot of running room. Mike Anter down the sideline and knocked out of bounds at about the 10-yard line by LaTuan Anderson. LaTuan saves the touchdown, but a big gain for St. Ignatius.
Yeah, Mike Anter he's designed to go off tackle. He bounces a little wider, and you're going to see a missed tackle coming off the left side of the screen right there. And that gets Anter around the corner. Look again, you got receivers downfield. Joey Paris that time locked up with the corner, and that gives Anter that running lane. Everybody got sucked up inside where Anter was supposed to go. He bounces it outside, gets the running lane, and down the sideline. Big run.
48 yards for Mike Anter. Kevin Johnson loses the football, but it looks as if the Wildcats have recovered. Kevin Johnson not able to hang on to that football, fresh into the game, and it looked like Kevin was able to get out and pick up his own fumble.
And see, when you get in a pile there and you start trying to change hands, and LaTuan Anderson able to get his hand in there to knock that ball out. And it's a good hustle, though, by Kevin Johnson to get back on that football. And when you're a backup running back and you come into the game and you put the ball on the ground, you better recover it, because if not, you're going to be standing next to Coach Kyle the rest of the game.
Nice job by Johnson to get out there after the fumble and make the recovery.
Exactly.
Anter back in the game. And this is Mike, and boy, is he hit in a hurry. Steve Caruso coming up from his outside linebacker spot to make the stop.
Yeah,
Steve's been active tonight, Mike.
Yeah, Caruso's been all over the place. We have been making plays, making people bounce all over the place, but he's going to just shoot in from the right side or left side of the screen. His right side linebacker position reads it well, and that play was designed to start to the left and come back to the right, but Caruso closed down on Anter so quickly there was nowhere for Anter to go.
Big play puts Anter close to 100 yards on the night. Holland throwing for Paris. Touchdown, St. Ignatius. Joe Paris from 15 yards out. But there's a flag on the play after the touchdown.
Yeah, after the touchdown, a dead ball foul for the penalty, but just a nice throw by Andrew Holland. He throws the ball in the fade route. Normally you throw the fade route to the back corner of the end zone, let your receiver go get it. This time he throws it a little short, and Paris is able to sell it. He's going deep, gets the corner's head turned, looking down the field. He turns. Great concentration. It's good coverage. Just Paris ended up winning the
personal foul on the defense. We'll mark it off on the try. Dead ball.
Nice throw by Holland. Nice catch by Paris. And it's a touchdown for the Wildcats.
Yeah, and pretty good coverage. It's just great concentration by Paris. And we talked about Paris, one of those big receivers that they have, him and Connor Ryan, two senior wide receivers who make very good plays, both of them 6'1", 190, 195-pound guys who can run pretty well. They also catch the ball very well. And that was just a great adjustment by Joe Paris to come back and make that catch.
You're right. Aaron Marrero had good coverage on that, but Paris doing a terrific job for bringing the touchdown. Seamus Hennessy adds the extra point. 7 minutes, 24 seconds to play here at Byers Field. And it's all St. Ignatius. 34-6. Wildcats on top of what could be a preview of a playoff game next week. These two teams have never gone against each other in a playoff game. It could shake out that way next week with these teams playing in the first round.
Yeah, it could. I mean, it looks that way. With this win, Ignatius will jump up to number 1. If they're able to hold out the last 7 minutes, they'll jump up to number 1. Eds is already at number 8. They're in the playoffs. They'll stay at number 8. And we'll see these same two teams probably right here on this field.
It will be.
Next Saturday.
We asked Chuck Kyle about that possibility earlier this week, and he said, never in my career have I ever played the same team twice in a row. And Scott Niedzwiecki said, what could be better than playing St. Ignatius twice in a season? Now that's the spirit you're looking for. However,
yeah, I'm not sure with this offense that you really want to try to play Ignatius twice a year. It's bad enough to have to play him once. But you know what, Jeff? It's the second week when you have to play the same team twice in a row. Usually the team who wins the first game tends to lose the second game, because it's hard to beat the same team twice in one season, especially two teams who are equally talented.
Alex Cameron hit and brought down. Here are the playoff standings after Friday's games. Of course, these all unofficial, but Strongsville on top. St. Ignatius at number 2. A win tonight should vault them into the number 1 spot, and the matchup with St. Edward in the first round. So probably looking at Strongsville Euclid in a first round matchup, and then we'll see what happens with those middle spots. But it'll be very interesting to see another game, these same two teams next week. Did you ever play the same team twice in 2 weeks?
Yes, 1988 we played the Houston Oilers, week 16, beat them, hosted them the next week in the wild card game, and lost by 1 point.
Speaking from experience.
Yes.
On first down, not much running room for Germany Woods, thanks to Ryan Carr. Let's head down to Dion Miller, the Toyota Sideline Report.
Well, naturally, guys, a lot of frustration and mystery as to what has exactly happened for St. Edward's tonight. I was standing over there when St. Ignatius scored that last touchdown, and it was kind of a glazed look of, you have got to be kidding me. As their fans head for the exits, you know they're going to be wondering, what is this team going to adjust to, knowing they have to face St. Ignatius again next week in the postseason, guys.
You know what, though, Dion, I'm like, if I was an Eagle, I'd feel really good about the way we played until the fourth quarter. Because after being down early, they came back, and this game was pretty tight throughout the middle. They did a nice job offensively against Ignatius and didn't do much themselves offensively. But this game was pretty tight for a while. And busting loose and on his way to the end zone is LaTuan Anderson. LaTuan Anderson goes 78 yards. He's a big play guy, and there's a big play when his team really needs one. Touchdown for LaTuan Anderson.
Well, that's the type of thing that's been missing from this St. Edward's offense. You know, the whole second and third quarters, no big plays, nothing happening, and all of a sudden a couple of decent runs for St. Ignatius. gave them a little bit of momentum. Now here's LaTwine Anderson, does a great job fighting his way through traffic, keeps his feet moving, and once he gets out in the open, this 10-4 100-meter guy is a sophomore. Not many guys in the field are going to be able to catch LaTwine Anderson once he gets in the open field.
Mike D'Annunzio's extra point, no good. That's been a problem tonight. And Mike coming into this game, it's funny, before last week against Moeller, he had been perfect on the season. He was 15 of 15. Last week went 2 of 4 on extra points, and tonight has missed both.
Yeah, and I don't understand it, Jeff. I mean, he has a very strong leg.
Great form.
When it comes to kicking extra points and field goals, though, you have to remember there's a snapper and a holder and a kicker. And you only have around 1.3, 1.4 seconds from the snap to the kick. So a lot of things have to go right for the ball to be kicked properly and for an extra point. So we say D'Annunzio's the one kicking it, but he has 2 other guys that he's directly relying on to get him the ball where he needs it so that he can put his foot on it properly.
The Eagles have missed 2 of their last 6 extra point opportunities over the last 2 games. Obviously, something they'll be working on this week in practice. They needed the big play, Mike, but they really needed it in the third quarter when this game was 20-6 and not 34-6.
Well, they needed it in the first quarter when it was 14-0. And they had that opportunity, and they got the big kickoff return by, of course, LaTwine Anderson. Put him down in great field position, and they have the turnover. This time they're able to put the ball in the end zone by Anderson, but they needed this earlier.
D'Annunzio's kick brought in by Frank DeSico. Frank tries to cut it back, and he slips at the 17-yard line. Flag on this play as DeSico tried to cut it back and slip. This field a little slippery, Mike, because we saw the kickers especially slipping during their pregame warm-ups, and then Seamus Hennessy slipped on his extra point early on. St. Ignatius 34 points in this game. Big plays. The big reason why, Mike.
Yeah, Frank DeSico here on a huge punt return early, and then, of course, the 70-yard touchdown pass to Paris, and then the fumble and picked up by McFay into the end zone, and then Andrew Holland on the 19-yard touchdown run, and then the pass play. All the touchdowns set up or on big plays or set up by a previous big play, and that's how St. Ignatius wins football games and why they average nearly 40 points a game. It's those huge plays.
Mike Anter busts it up the middle, gets a first down for Ignatius. Steve Caruso finally brought him down, but that puts Mike Anter over 100 yards tonight.
Yeah, Mike Anter's not what you call a big running back. He's 5'10", 190 pounds, put together very well, but he runs with his pads down, runs behind his shoulder pads, and he bounces off of that initial tackle, and he has a good burst of speed, and that's what you need in a running back.
Kevin Johnson replaces him in the backfield next to Andrew Holland. Under 6 minutes to play. Holland keeps it. Does a nice little jitterbug move to just keep himself going and pick up a couple of yards.
Yeah,
very nicely done. Matt Dillo is the guy who not quite able to find Andrew Holland, and that's putting it nicely.
Well, and you call it, what did you call it, a jitterbug move?
I think I did.
It's the now you see me, now you don't move, and Andrew Holland just gives him the little bit of a head fake, say I'm going outside, and just puts his left foot in the ground and comes inside, and Dillo was on his heels a little bit, and the guy who's on his heels is going to lose that battle 100% of the time.
Gain of 9 for Holland. He has run very effectively, over 60 yards rushing for Holland here in the fourth quarter alone. Hands this one off. Kevin Johnson runs into the middle of the line, and there's absolutely no room there. Michael Green, Brad Weisenseal right there for the Eagles.
Brian, we were talking about Holland, the last play, that the now you see it, that now you don't, or the jitterbug move that he put on him. At the end of that play, he did the wise thing. He slid down in bounds. 4 minutes to go in the game, little under 5 minutes to go in the game. Keep the clock running. Instead of running out of bounds, slide down inside, keep the clock running. Smart, heady play by your senior quarterback.
Johnson spins out to about the 40-yard line. That'll be a gain of 5 on first down for the Ignatius Wildcats. Mike Haney right there for St. Edward.
Well, a lot of the big plays that Ignatius has had today have been the direct result of missed tackles by Eds. There's another one there where you have him. They had him in the backfield for a loss, but Kevin Johnson's able to shuck that first tackle and get down the field and pick up positive yards. The first run by Holland earlier, the seek on the punt return. A lot of missed tackles have set up big plays for Ignatius.
Holland stays in bounds. That's the key at this point, under 4 minutes to play. Rob Corey on the stop for the Eagles. Magic number in this series has been 15. When Ignatius scores 15 or more points, and boy have they ever tonight, their record 20-1 against St. Edward. When they've scored 14 points, right on the nose, 2-1-1. But when the Wildcats have scored under 14 points, they have not won a game against St. Edward. 0-18 their record. So it's all been up to the Eagle defense in this series, and tonight big plays have led to a big lead for the Ignatius Wildcats. Under 3:15 to play. Holland. Brian Boland brings him down. Kind of odd how a scoring total, Mike, has been so significant and so telling in a series like this. 20-1 when they score 15 or more. Eds 18-0 when they hold them to under 14.
For a long time, Jeff, Ed's forte has always been their defense. They have hung their hat on their defense for a long time. When their defense is solid, keeps Ignatius away from the big plays, they win football games. When Eds gives up the big plays, their defense is not able to stop Ignatius. They don't have a chance to win. It's the defense of Eds has always been their strength. Offense has always been a control the line of scrimmage, control the ball, pound on you type of offense.
These schools, I've always kind of compared them to brothers. When one school needs something, the other school is always there to help out. And that even goes with the coaching staff. An awful lot of respect from both of these coaching staffs to the other sideline.
They're very balanced offensively. Offensive line's been playing well. Quarterback's as good as there is in Ohio. And he's been very, very accurate, and their receivers are catching the ball. Even when they're covered, they go up and catch the ball. And on the defensive side, they just don't give up any points. I mean, they've been playing great defense all year long against some good opponents as well.
Scott Nitzwicki, nothing but respect for Chuck Kyle and his program at St. Ignatius, a team that more than likely they will be seeing again next week on this field in the first round of the playoffs. Mark Myers gets the ball away. Good rush by the Eagles. The high punt. And bounces inside the 40-yard line right to the 35. So the Eagles take over there with 2:17 to play in this game. And obviously, this game out of reach for them right now, you would have to say, unless amazing things happen. Flag on the play, it's 34-12. We'll be back to Byers Field with 2:17 to go.
After a car accident, you open a whole world of challenges, like getting to work. Thankfully, Farmers customers can avoid these inconveniences. Our Help Point service arranges towing, car rentals, even recommends certified auto repair facilities. Contact a local agent and shield yourself with Farmers, just one of over 30 reliable policies available from Farmers.
Tonight's game on FSN Ohio is brought to you by First Merit. The bank is First Merit. The account is reality. The advantage is yours. By J.J. Huddle, Ohio's high school sports leader. By Farmers Insurance. To find an agent near you, call 1-800-FARMERS. By your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. And by Cleveland State University. Engaged Learning. Apply today at EngageCSU.com.
2:17 left in our First Merit Bank High School Football Game of the Week. Jeff Phelps along with Mike Pagel here at Byers Field. And the St. Edward Eagles cranking it up. Jeff Burke brings in the pass from Alex Leviski. Just the second completion of the second half for Leviski. He is now 2 of 10 in the second half. He was 1 of 9 for just 1 yard. So the Ignatius defense, Mike, doing a terrific job against the Eagle passing game here in the second half.
Well, and at halftime, Levinsky was at 50%. And Ignatius coverage, they just tightened everything up, and that has been a big difference. This offense for Eds hasn't been able to do anything.
Levinsky runs into blue.
Said that all day long, haven't you?
I think I have, actually. This Eagle offense averaging over 30 points a game coming in tonight, held to 12. Rushing yards thanks to the big run by LaTuan Anderson, approaching their season average. Passing yards a little bit below. Max Warren, who's had a terrific game, brought in a touchdown pass earlier. Knocked out of bounds for a gain of about a yard. Excuse me, not knocked out of bounds, just barely inbounds. Joe O'Malley, Corey Galissi, right there for St. Ignatius defensively.
O'Malley and Galissi were both standing there waiting for Warren. Right now, this Ignatius defense is sitting back. They're playing that 3-5 defense. Right now, it looks like a 3-3-5 because the safeties are dropping way out. The rovers are way out. They're playing 4 or 5 deep across the secondary right now because they know nothing but passes coming right now.
Under a minute to play for Levinsky and the Eagles. They try and score a few more points and maybe do something now, Mike, that might help them next week. Obviously, just putting together a drive, I think, would be a decent confidence boost for them.
Well, they have to do something. Right now, their offense was completely stymied since halftime.
Other than the big run.
Other than the one big run by your big stud athlete, LaTuan Anderson, who busted free on one. For the most part, they have to find a way to consistently move the football against this Ignatius defense, and they haven't found it out yet.
Levinsky throwing deep. Pass intended for Dan McEwen, incomplete. Tom Hunt right there on the coverage. It seems as if Ignatius has done a terrific job of scouting out the Eagles because every pass pattern, Mike, the coverage has been right there each and every time.
Well, both these teams know each other. They've played against each other for years. They do a great job of film study. That time was just great technique by Tommy Hunt, the corner. He saw the go route, and as a corner, what you do is you run right across in front of the path of the wide receiver. It's not pass interference. You just act like you're running the route with him.
On fourth down, Jeff Burke unable to bring in the pass. Tom Hunt on the coverage. The ball goes back to Ignatius with 19 seconds to play.
And again, great coverage by Tommy Hunt. We haven't said his name a whole lot. And Jeff Burke is the big gun for Eds, and he doesn't have many catches at all. And it's not because he's not working hard and the balls aren't being thrown his way. Tommy Hunt's just doing a great job of covering him. And if you can cover guys one-on-one, now you can concentrate and bring your safeties in to stop the run. Put 8 or 9 guys up there to stop the run because you trust your corners. You're going to be able to play one-on-one outside. That makes it a very difficult task for any offense to be good and consistent against a 9-man front.
Andrew Holland did not play against St. Ed's last year. He had a sprained right shoulder, so don't you know he loves taking a knee with 15 seconds to play. Great moment for Andrew Holland. Terrific win for the St. Ignatius Wildcats. 34-12 in what just might be game 1 of a 2-game series, with game 2 coming up perhaps in a week right here at Byers Field. Our Farmers Insurance plays of the game, big plays, going in favor of St. Ignatius tonight. In the second quarter of this game, Mark Myers run into on a punt. Rather than punting the football away, the Wildcats get it right back. First play afterwards, Andrew Holland goes deep. He hits his man, Joe Paris, 70 yards for a touchdown, and that made it 13-0, Mike. And that really, really turned the momentum in this game.
Right, and that just put St. Ed's on their heels, allowed the St. Ignatius Wildcat defense just to kind of lay their ears back and play a little bit, and just a big backbreaker, that play right there.
Let's head right down to Dionne Miller. She is with Coach Chuck Kyle of Ignatius.
Well, Coach, big plays win big games. Your team certainly came up with quite a few of them tonight to put this one away.
Yes, it was a game where, you know, if a team made a mistake, the other team took advantage of it, and that's if you replay it, that's somewhat happened. But I think our defense did a very, very good job. I want to credit them because there were some times there where we had a few 3 and outs, and you know, you worry about the momentum thing. But they did a very, very good job, and then the offense broke through a little bit there in the fourth quarter and found a couple things, and we went with it.
Talk about Andrew Holland and the adjustments that he made after a scoreless third quarter. Clearly, both defensively were playing very tough, but then the adjustments he made in the fourth.
Right. Well, Andrew's a kid that certainly is a very good passer, but he's a very good runner. And with some of the formations we were doing, we thought we had a shot to just go ahead and let him take off with it a few times, and that really paid off. That really helped out. And so he's a very versatile young man, and that's we want to use that. And we need to use that in the playoffs.
Yeah, 9-1 now, heading in the #1 seed. You will face St. Ed's again next Saturday. First time in your career. How do you head into this week?
This is very awkward. It really is. This is the way it's going to be. We'll be, I guess, right back here. That's really it's kind of awkward. I've never had this sort of thing right in a row. We've played teams twice in a year. That's happened several times when you get in the playoffs, but to turn around exactly the following week is will be interesting how the week goes. Honestly, I've never experienced that before, so I could tell you in a week from now how I reacted to it, because it's you have a game plan. Well, okay, well now what? You spent 365 days putting a game plan together against teams, and now you got it's the same team 2 weeks in a row. Well, okay, let's see what happens.
Well, you got to be happy with the #1 seed, though.
Right. Oh, sure. But in all honesty, I think when you talk about playoffs, whether you're the #1 or the #7 or #8, it's a new season. Last time we won a state championship, we were 7th seed. I mean, we weren't supposed to be anywhere around, and we got hot and things happened and we won. So it's the second season, really. Whether you're the first seed or the whatever. I mean, look, we're gonna be playing St. Ed's. I mean, what a bargain? No, that's not a bargain. Because the 1st or 8th, that's going to be another hard-fought ball game. So, but that's the way it is. You have to play it the way it's set up.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for your time, and best of luck to you
in
the postseason. We appreciate it. Jeff?
Dion, thank you very much. 9 state titles for Chuck Kyle and the St. Ignatius Wildcats. The last one in 2001. They go into the playoffs as a #1 seed with a 9-game winning streak. Post-game coming up next.
We owe you so much.
Welcome to the FSN Ohio High School Postgame Show. Here's your host, Dion Miller.
The defense delivered big plays. The offense delivered theirs as well. And St. Ignatius comes away with a victory, 34-12 over their rival, St. Edwards. I am with the quarterback, Andrew Holland. And Andrew, last year you did not play in this game. So your senior year to come through with a huge victory, how much does that mean to you?
It was pretty exciting just to beat our rival in the last game of the season. I didn't play last year, so I was pretty pumped to get out here and get a victory.
Yeah, a tough game for you. I mean, that third quarter was really rough for both sides, but what adjustments were you able to make then in the fourth to really take advantage?
Yeah, it was tough getting the 3 and outs, keeping the defense on the field, but we started picking the right plays, executing well, and moving the ball and scoring points.
You worked so hard all season to get to Week 10 in this matchup with St. Ed's, and now you get to turn around and play them again next week. You guys will be the top seed heading into the postseason. What is that going to be like for you guys preparing for the same team twice?
Yeah, it's tough to beat a team twice in the same season, especially St. Ed's, so it's going to be a challenge, but we're going to work as hard as we can this week, prepare as well as we can, try to come out with another victory.
Is it a different feeling heading into the postseason this year, especially knowing it's your senior year and the last time you guys all do this?
Yeah, it's pretty special. It's your senior year. It's your last chance. You got a lot of your teammates, a lot of your good friends. Hopefully you go out and win states with them.
All right, Andrew, thanks so much for your time. Congratulations. We'll send it back up to the booth. Jeff and Mike for your thoughts on tonight's game.
Dion, one thing I'm thinking as they head into what is more than likely a second game next week against each other is if I'm St. Edward right now, Mike, I'm thinking we made so many mistakes in this game that we could clear up pretty easily. You would have to think. If they come out and play mistake-free football in game number 2, this could be a completely different situation next week.
Sure, and the number one thing is the missed tackles. The number of missed tackles they had that allowed Ignatius the big runs, the punt return, and some of the other ones, and then hey, that's just bad luck there. Bolin just happened to get just close enough for the punter to fall on him, and then the next play, the big home run touchdown pass, the only really big play they gave up, and then the interception. just little tiny mistakes, and in this one was the backbreaker, an exchange problem, something you wouldn't expect to have in either one of these teams is an exchange problem between a quarterback and a running back that McVay picked up to return for a touchdown.
And that was in the third quarter. It made it a 20-0 Ignatius lead. And really from that point on, Mike, this game was over. Let's head down to Dionne Miller. She is with Mark Porter from JJ Huddle for our scouting report.
Jeff, thanks so much. And Mark, we will start with St. Ed's, looking at some of their stars. They are a very young team, obviously. That clearly showed tonight. But LaTuan Anderson really stepped up, especially in the second half there.
Yeah, he showed a spark when he went down the sidelines where there wasn't anybody that could catch him. And I think St. Ed's will see that on film, and he may get the ball a little more next week. And don't forget about the receivers, Max Warren and Jeff Burke. They made some good plays tonight.
Yeah, especially that third quarter we talked about. I know Jeff mentioned it in the booth, that it was very evenly matched. I mean, if they come out and play that kind of game next week, they could really have a chance.
There's a lot of things that are probably on film that these coaches will see that they'll take in the next week and re-game plan with a little more fine-tuning.
Does he have that extra step? We talk about LaTuan. I mean, he obviously is a track runner, and he takes off down the field. Does he have that extra step that maybe can put him at that next level?
You know, like when you evaluate a kid like that, I was trying to see if Hinkle or Dan Fox was chasing him down the field because I know what their speed is, but they never made it into the picture. So I think this kid's really fast.
Yeah, Brian Boland as well, a linebacker for St. Ed's. Yeah. Obviously going to get a lot of looks. This kid's very strong, very powerful, and he comes in really hard with the hits.
Yeah, very, very hard. He's very physical, and seeing him a few weeks ago, he stood out, and then again tonight he put on the show. So we'll be watching for him into the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazingly, no one from St. Ed's really has any college looks yet, but I imagine that will change if they make it anywhere past next week as well. And we turn now and look at St. Ignatius, obviously very powerful all over the place. Yeah. We'll start with Scott McVay, number 40, made a lot of plays tonight.
Scott McVay was known for his big hits coming into this game, but then when I saw him take off down the sideline, I didn't know he had that kind of speed, which is really what college recruiters are going to look at, is his speed. Yeah. You know, the big hits are one thing from the linebacker, but if you can't get there, you can't make the big hits.
Yeah, this kid was invited to Ohio State back in week 1. He watched that Youngstown State game. Could he be a Big Ten linebacker U kind of kid?
You know, right now he has the speed he showed tonight, and I think as he gets into camps this summer is where those type of offers will come in. You know, they say Big Four, Notre Dame, Penn State, Ohio State, some of those type of schools. If not, he may be a Big Ten kid for sure.
All right, and you look at some of the other guys that were making plays tonight. Mike Anter on the ground, running back, and of course Andrew Holland at quarterback, a very smart, intelligent kid.
And certainly the receivers outside Paris and those guys, if you switch their uniforms around, you might not know which one was which, so it's hard to focus on a guy and try to take him away because someone else seems to make the play.
All right, Mark, thanks so much for your insights. We certainly appreciate it. We will have plenty more here from Byers Field as we wrap up Week 10. Another look at the playoff picture for Week 11. Don't go away.
After a car accident, you open a whole world of challenges, like getting to work. Thankfully, Farmers customers can avoid these inconveniences. Our Help Point service arranges towing, car rentals, even recommends certified auto repair facilities. Contact a local agent and shield yourself with Farmers, just one of over 30 reliable policies available from Farmers.
I think we surprise people how fast we are. I think people think, well, that's maybe no. We have speed. We've broken away quite a bit in the passing game for the long passes and vertical passing. So that I think has been something that's been very strong for us.
And it was again tonight. Joe Paris, number 5 for the St. Ignatius Wildcats. 4 catches, 85 yards, had a couple of touchdowns. Paris now with 9 touchdowns on the season. Connor Ryan with 9 receiving touchdowns on the season, Mike.
Yeah, and today it was Paris who was getting them, and he got the long touchdown after the roughing the punter penalty, and then the one right at the end to put it up to 34 where the fade was thrown a little short. And Paris just did a great job of adjusting with coverage all over him, concentrated on the ball, made the catch, and yeah, they have speed, but they catch the ball, and that's the most important thing for a receiver to do is catch the football, and both of those young men do it very well.
The final score in this one, 34-12, pretty much matches up with Ignatius's averages on the season, averaging over 36 points a game and giving up only 9 points a game. They did a terrific job all the way around in this one. First downs, pretty even, and statistically, Mike, all the way down the board. This game pretty even statistically.
Yeah, the turnovers, the points off turnovers are big time there. but it was the number of big plays that Ignatius had. As long as Eds next week can prevent Ignatius from having those big plays, Eds has a chance to win the football game. But tonight, they allowed too many big plays, long runs, punt returns, long pass, fumble recovery. Those type of plays, I don't care how good a football team you are, you give up that many big plays, you're going to lose football games.
Unofficially, this is the way things look in Division I, Region 1. Ignatius probably moving into the number 1 spot. St. Edward staying at number 8. That means a matchup next week between these two rivals, and then Strongsville, Euclid in the first round, and probably Mentor, Willoughby South, and Glenville, the only team to beat St. Ignatius this season, and it happened in week number 1, going against Brecksville. Let's go down to Dion Miller. Dion, this game was interesting tonight, and I mentioned it earlier, and you mentioned it. In the middle of this game, it was pretty even, and I would think if the Eagles look at that part of the game and think this is what really worked well for us, it'll give them something to really build on for next week.
Oh, absolutely, and we talk about the youth of that team as well. I mean, they're very resilient, and as much as discouragement was on their faces at several times throughout the night, it's clear that they have the energy, and they were still kind of trying to encourage each other to get back out there, and I think that's what they're going to kind of hang their hats on as they head into next week. And let's not kid ourselves, it's very, very hard to beat a team twice in the same season, let alone 2 weeks in a row. And St. Ed's plays an extremely tough schedule. We've talked about that all week, about preparing for this. I mean, they play St. X and Moeller just in the last couple of weeks, and they played them both very, very tough. And I think they can build on that, and they can turn this thing around and really give St. Ignatius a game next week.
It will be fun to watch, and it'll be interesting to see. Just the first time ever, actually, for Chuck Kyle that he will go against the same team 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. As we look at week 11 as well, you look at the 1 through 8 teams, how many of those teams have actually appeared on our air this year, which could be a good omen for them, perhaps.
Well, I kind of like that idea, don't you?
I think so.
The teams that we saw, and you have to think about Strongsville, the Mustangs look so strong. And they look poised to make a couple of game run in this and see what happens, because you get on a roll, you never know what's going to happen. But in the second round, we could have Ignatius going against Glenville. And that matchup in the first week of the season led to a win by Glenville over Ignatius right here at Byers, 20-17.
Yeah, but just 3 points. I mean, they were clearly in that game, and they felt that was just a test. Coach Kyle just wanted to kind of see where his team was, which why you choose Glenville to do that is beyond me. But clearly it showed what the potential his team had, and now here they sit at 9-1. I mean, that's a matchup that I would definitely like to see in the second round.
All right, Dion, good work.
Thanks. You too.
Thank you. Week number 1 right here. It was St. Ignatius going against Glenville. And again, if things work out well in the first round for both of these teams, they could meet in round number 2. And it was big plays for Glenville, Mike, that led to a Tarbletters win.
Well, and that's how Glenville plays the game. And in that case, it's kind of the opposite of this game, where we expected Ignatius to have the big plays and Eds had to prevent them. Ignatius against Glenville, prevent the big plays. Glenville got them. They win the football game on a long field goal at the end.
And the Tarbletters winning that one on a field goal right here at Byers Field. As St. Ed's gets ready for next week and a probable matchup against St. Ignatius, I think one thing they can be very happy with is the play of number 85 tonight, Max Warren. He was outstanding.
Yeah, Max Warren had a tremendous game today. Caught the touchdown pass where he's able to keep the 1 foot in bounds. He laid out for the out route here. And a big part of it is Jeff Burke was out on the other side, and Ignatius really focused on keeping the ball out of Jeff Burke's hands, so much so toward the end of the game he was getting frustrated. But when that happens, Max Warren on the other side stepped up and played very, very well for the St. Ed's team. Next week, what's Coach Kyle going to do? Take away Jeff Burke and let Warren beat you? Or maybe put a little bit more coverage toward Warren, and maybe Jeff Burke might get some more balls?
The executive producer of the Fox Ohio High School Game of the Week is Tom Farmer. Coordinating producer Doug Johnson. Tonight's game directed by Bob Pennell and produced by Carl Patterson, who did a fabulous job all season long. Now, for all of our wonderful crew, headed by Dave Engel, and my partners, Mike Pagel, Dion Miller, Tony Rizzo, I'm Jeff Phelps. It's been a great season on our First Merit Bank High School Football Game of the Week. We'll see you next year. St. Ignatius, 34-12 over St. Edward.